Staff's not charged. It's okay.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this Tampa City Council meeting to order. At this time, in place of the invocation, we'd just like to have a moment of silence. If you could please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Thank you very much. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could have a roll call, please.
Carlson. Kurtek. Clendenin.
Here.
Anderson.
Present.
Vieira.
Here.
Miranda.
Here.
And Maniscalco.
Here.
Mr.
We
Chair,
have a
Yes,
physical
sir.
quorum.
I just want to note the significance that we were all having a moment of silence praying, and when we stopped, suddenly Councilmember Hurtek appeared. So I'm sure there's some important significance to that.
That's the magic. All right, we have to adopt the minutes from the June 15, 2023 regular session and the June 22nd workshop and evening. We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, let's go over the agenda. We have as you know, Councilmember Vieira is virtual today, and he will be virtual for a portion of today's meeting, and would like to continue a couple of items. Councilmember Vieira, I'm going to go over the continuance list here. Item 131, to be continued to a date to be determined. We'll figure that date out, but can we get a motion to continue item 131? Motion from Councilmember Miranda. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Carlson. All in favor? Yeah, to be determined.
Yes, I can, Mr. Chairman. Martin Shelby, City Council Attorney. Good morning. And I don't know whether Mr. Vieira would choose a date today or bring it back, but also maybe a date that such as today when FDOT is already scheduled to be online or in present. So, but that's something for Mr. Vieira to consider.
Yes, sir. Councilman Vieira.
If I may, yes, sir, for the FDOT one, we'd have to coordinate with them, so I'll have my aide Brandon come back with that, since it's working with another party. Thank you, sir.
All right. All in favor of that motion for a date to be determined? Aye. Any opposed? All right. We also have a request from Councilmember Vieira to continue item 132 to August 3rd, and that would be under staff reports. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion from Councilmember Miranda. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Carlson. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Item 133, also a request from Councilmember Vieira, that to be continued to August 3rd.
So moved.
We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from? Second. Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Yes, sir.
Sorry, you want to call the vote first? I just want to make a comment.
Well,
I've been following the Sister City program for a number of years, and from what I see, it doesn't really accomplish very much. And I think we need to fix the current Sister City program. If the city participates at all, we need to fix it before we add any new cities. To me, it looks like fun junkets and nothing really substantive ever happens. The cities that we pick, I don't know about this one, but the cities we typically pick are cities that we could do business with, but they're not the primary cities that we should be doing business with. And so I wish at some point that we would have somebody from that organization, to the extent the city's involved, come tell us why we should support it or be involved at all. Thank you.
thank you very much. All right, we have a motion, second, and a vote to continue that item to August 3rd. Next up is item 134, a request from Councilmember Vieira to continue this item to September 7th.
So moved.
We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Carlson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any opposed? And then the last item, item 135, a request from Councilmember Vieira to move this to, or continue this to September 7th under staff reports. Do we have a motion? Motion from Councilmember Miranda. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you, council. Thank you,
very
Chair.
No, I'm getting to it. I have it. So we also have a memo from Councilmember Carlson to pull item number 94 from the consent agenda for a second vote after the administration update. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Carlson. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Number 136, staff is requesting this item to be continued to October 26th. We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Carlson. All in favor? Aye. Which one? 136. Yes, ma'am. All right. And then we have item number 121. That is going to be a 10:30 public hearing. Should I wait to withdraw that, or can I do it now? Wait, all right,
can-
we're gonna wait on 121 after 10:30. So that's that. I believe that covers everything. Also, after we do, when we go to administrative update, I know Chief of Staff Bennett, you wanted to say something, correct?
Not now.
No, just comment, not go into the administration update.
Yeah, no, good morning, Council. John Bennett, Chief of Staff. Good morning to the public. We thought because we had Firefighter of the Quarter year and we had a, not an uncommon scenario, but a update on the CAD outage with fire, that Chief Tripp could give a quick summary of what happened between Sunday and last night to get that back online. So she's here. We thought we'd take advantage of the moment. And happy birthday, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Welcome to my birthday party. I wanted to celebrate it with all of you. Thank you for coming. We have almost 150 items on the agenda, so a lot of action.
Mr. Chairman, is it true they're calling you Junior?
Junior.
Like Jack Benny Jr., you're 39?
I am 39, yep. Thank you very much.
You don't look so good.
I try to look bad. All right, anything else before we ask for approval? Yes, ma'am. Oh, let's do that. All right, we'll go to the staff reports. Administration update, we already heard from the chief. We'll get to that. Item number 123, do we need staff present? Yes?
Well, pardon? You want,
Well, we have to approve $7 million, so I assume staff will be here to tell us why.
Okay, yeah, let's keep staff for 123. All right, number 124, this is regarding $12 million, so I would like staff present unless anybody has any, no? All right, so 124, we will have staff present. Item number 125 regarding Mayor's Youth Corps and the
Yes.
Teens Leading Change, yes? So we'll have staff present. Item number 126, staff present on this, or is the written report sufficient?
I think the written report is sufficient on that.
Councilman Vieira, would you like staff present for 126? You're muted.
Thank you. I may not be here for that. If I were, I would like staff, but so I'm not in a position to tax council's time. I'll follow up on my own for that. So I don't think it would be proper for me to request that.
Would you like to continue it until when you're present? Or are you? Okay to
No,
move
I appreciate that, Mr. Chair. No, I'll assess this and see if it requires council further formal attention, and may very well. But again, I don't want to tax council's time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
receive and file then?
So we'll get a motion to receive and file that for 126.
No staff then?
No staff needed, okay? All right, item number 127, would you like staff present? Or is the written report sufficient? Councilmember Carlson, this was your motion.
All the report said, it's like 2 paragraphs. It says, yes, we're looking at funding sources. And I emailed the chief of staff to say I think that response was very disrespectful to city council and the public, because the public is demanding more money for parks. And we seem to find money for projects that the administration wants, but not the ones the public wants. And so I'm very frustrated in that response. But since we have a transition in that department, I think we have no choice but to let that go at this point. But I would just in the future ask the administration to understand that when we ask for something, we're asking for it on behalf of the public. And so even though you may want to be dismissive of city council, you're also being dismissive of the public when you respond that way. Thank you.
All right. So no staff needed at this time, however, in the future. Thank you very much. Item number 128.
Yes.
All right, number 129. That was a motion that I made. I spoke with the folks involved, and the memo is sufficient. This was a motion that I made regarding a request from folks in the public regarding our stormwater manual and green technology. I'll get with them directly, and I'll use that memo unless anybody needs staff present. I'm good without them. No? All right, item number 130.
Yes.
We are going to have staff present. We took care of the rest here. 136. All right. 136, and that's it. Wow, 130. I thought it was going to be 150 items, only 136. Yes, ma'am.
Rebecca Johns, Legal Department. I just wanted to remind you that item 124, which is under staff reports, needs to be heard before item 109.
Okay. All right, we'll do that, and we'll coordinate it, so we'll hear it 124 before we go into 109. So, is there anything else regarding the agenda? If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda and the addendum.
So moved.
Yes, ma'am. The addendum, once we get to it, at 10:30, we're going to do it, to withdraw it. All right, we have a motion to approve from Councilmember Miranda. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. We'll go to ceremonial activities. Police Officer of the Month is first.
Honorable Chairman, Honorable Member, Tampa City Council, it's my pleasure this morning to be before you to make a presentation to the Police Officer of the Month. Sometimes we have police officers that are always doing the work all the time, but they only have 12 in 1 month, in 1 year, every month. That equals 12. However, there's over 1,000 police officers, sworn officers, and what we need to do is be vigilant of the fact that in today's society, these men and women have always had their life in danger to protect each and every one of us. And it's getting more difficult in this country to find individuals that want to serve, just like it is in the military, for whatever reason. And the men and women, not only in this Tampa Police Department, but all over this country, have to be given a great amount of gratitude for what they do, not yesterday, and not today, but what they're doing to save our lives and make sure that the public is doing the right thing, and most of the public is. They are just a little few that want to create something that we learned from our parents not to do. That's plain and simple. However, when you're a police officer, you have 100th of a second to make a decision. And when something goes wrong, you have a lifetime to worry about that decision. So we are 7 up here. Once in a while, we have to make a decision that may be controversial. A lot of them are. But we have to be nothing like a police officer. They have to do it every single day of their life, put their life in the line of duty to protect all of us. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Chief Burkhoff, who make the presentation of knowledge of what this police officer, this young officer, you don't look so good because you got hair between 2 guys that are bald. I hate to tell you that, sir.
Sorry.
But would make the case as to why he was made Police Officer of the Month. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, sir.
Morning, Council. Lee Burkhaw, Chief of Police. It's my honor again to present our Officer of the Month. This is Officer Ryan Barrera. He's with us probably about 7 years, and I'm going to tell you about a violent case you may have remembered from the news back in April, that he did some tenacious investigative ability to solve this. So I'm going to go through it. So Officer Ryan Barrera, he's committed to making the city of Tampa safer and making sure criminals are held accountable for their actions. His skill in research and investigation led to an arrest of a suspect who victimized 2 members of our community. On April 19th, the victim arrived at a hotel in the West Shore area to make her food delivery. The armed suspect approached her from behind and forced the victim back into her car, commanding her to drive. The victim drove the suspect to an apartment complex where he sexually battered her. As this incident was taking place, the victim was already on the phone with a family member. The family member was able to track the cell phone and locate the victim. As the victim's family arrived, now it even gets more violent, The suspect exited the victim's car and began shooting at them. So not only a sexual battery, but now a shooting. One round struck a family member behind the left ear, and the suspect was able to flee the scene. In the early morning hours of the same date after this incident occurred, a second victim was approached from behind by the same suspect. He grabbed the victim by the neck and threw her to the ground. While on the ground, the suspect struck the victim several times in the face before stealing her property and fleeing the scene. So now we've had 3 violent crimes occurring here during these early morning hours. So while working the case, Officer Barrera analyzed several different surveillance videos that captured the suspect. He was able to determine a possible identity of the suspect. Continuing his research, Officer Barrera discovered that a patrol officer had been in contact with this potential suspect while conducting an unrelated investigation the day before. Officer Barrera viewed the body-worn camera footage and confirmed that the subject in the video was in fact the same suspect from these crimes. Through additional research, Officer Barrera located the suspect's last known place of work. After arriving at the work site, he was able to obtain a positive identification of the suspect in the video from a prior coworker. This coworker informed Officer Barrera that the suspect was staying at a local hotel, and Officer Barrera coordinated with the department's street anti-crime squad, who responded to the area and were able to locate and arrest the suspect without incident. Evidence from the crime was also discovered at the location of the arrest. So within 2.5 days, this defendant was ultimately charged with armed robbery, armed kidnapping, armed sexual battery, aggravated battery, and robbery to an individual. Thanks to Officer Barrera's dedication, this suspect will not be able to harm another member of our community. This outstanding investigation and research conducted by Officer Barrera has made Tampa safer and is the reason he is being recognized as our Officer of the Month for July 2023. Congratulations.
Before I make the accommodation on behalf of Tampa City Council, I think there's some individuals in the community who would come up and give you a little something for your recognition. And there's very nice people, and they have a lot of goodies for you.
On behalf of the Tampa PBA, here's a plaque for you. Congratulations and job well done.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Council. Christina Duran. I'm here on behalf of Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay today. They'd like to congratulate you on your hard work in keeping the citizens safe with 4 tickets to Busch Gardens for your family to enjoy. So
Thank you so much.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Morning, Council. Bill Roland from the Strat Center for the Performing Arts. Thank you so much for keeping our streets safe, and we wanted to provide you 2 tickets to our opening show of the season in October, and 2 tickets to enjoy cocktails at the bar.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the support.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mary Lou Bailey. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm here on behalf of Zoo Tampa, and this is,
I'm Mark Haney, Chief External Relations Officer.
Nice to meet you.
I volunteer on the board of Zoo Tampa, and the board has purchased you a family membership for the year to enjoy the zoo. Thank you for your service, incredible story. I hope you're in my court if I ever get into trouble. And I also want to thank everybody who serves, who's in this room and who's not able to be here today. You guys are awesome sauce. And we hope you enjoy the zoo and love animals as much as you love people.
Oh, I do.
Okay?
We've got a sloth here, which is exact opposite of how you have been. But
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you.
Good morning, Council. Happy birthday, Chairman. Brian Ford with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Officer Barrera, on behalf of the Glazer family and our entire organization. That story is remarkable, but more importantly, what you do every day. And on behalf of our entire organization, we have a little, tradition. Thank you, John. It's been a long day. We have a little, they've heard me say this before, but we have a tradition at One Buck where people that go over and above get a game ball. And you definitely go over and above, but I want to thank you and your family for the sacrifice that you did. But
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your service.
Thank
Thanks for the support. I didn't fumble this time, though.
Council. Mike MacArthur, Steps Towing Service, and Officer, congratulations on a job well done, and thank you for everything, your dedication to keeping our streets safe. And on behalf of Todd Stepp and Steps Towing Service, I'd like to present you with a gift card out to take your family to dinner and a night out in our company limousine. Take some time off. You earned it. Thank you for everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Council, hey, Leo Gary with Bill Curry Ford, and this is Grace Thomas. Ryan, congratulations.
Thank you.
We want to present to you a gift certificate to Central Firearms to use. And then we got a little swag bag for you as well with some other goodies.
Thank you so much.
And I appreciate everything you do.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
We get a little picture.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good morning, Council. I'm Leah Domain. I'm here on behalf of Tampa Theater. Officer, thank you so much for your service in our community, keeping us safe. And on behalf of the theater, I'm honored to give you the gift of a membership so you can come and visit us on Franklin Street and some candy too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Congratulations, Steve Michelini. I'm here on behalf of a couple of different folks. But thanks for your tenacity in tracking down folks who are the bad actors in our community. We really appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
On behalf of Bella Brava Restaurants, we're providing you with a gift certificate so you can enjoy yourself at lunch or dinner over there. It's located in the Midtown section of near Dale Mabry. On behalf of the Chicho Restaurant Group, you can enjoy yourself with breakfast, lunch, or dinner. On behalf of Yummy House China Bistro, you can enjoy yourself for lunch or dinner. And the meat market in Old Hyde Park, you can enjoy yourself there for lunch or dinner. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir.
Who's going to hold these?
Well, so much for your diet.
Out the window.
I mean, you know, Officer, it's my pleasure, Senor Barrera, to make this presentation on behalf of the Honorable Tampa City Council members and the whole city of Tampa. All the residents really believe in law enforcement, and I think that what you just did is an example of what a police officer should do, to follow up, to make sure that everything, the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. And it takes individuals with a desire to keep doing the right thing.
Hi, Commissioner, this is Danny.
That you're going to receive now. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir.
Tampa City Council's plea to Officer Ryan Barrera for making Tampa safer and ensuring the criminals are held accountable for their actions. Through thorough investigation and research skills, recently helped identify and arrest a violent officer. And what the chief said, it was violent and it was a bad hombre. But on that behalf, Tampa City Council represents to you, the citizens of Tampa, along with the chief and all of us here in this room. Congratulations to you, not what you did just a month ago or so, but what you continue to do on a daily basis, you and everyone else in the force. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you for everyone who showed up today and showing their support. Thank you to my parents for their consistent support over the years. Thank you for being here today. I would like to thank my District 2 chain of command for even putting me in for this award, and ultimately command staff for selecting me to be worthy of this award. It's truly humbling. Thank you for everybody who contributed to these wonderful gifts. I'm extremely grateful and very appreciative. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Carlson?
Chief Burkall, are we supposed to call you Dr. Chief or Doctor or Chief?
Only if I'm teaching you in school, call me a doctor. Other than
Oh,
that,
just
it's
Chief, okay. What, and sorry if I missed this, but what happened to the person who was shot? Did they survive, or are they okay? They're okay?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much for what you did. You know, obviously, we need to make sure we take people like that off the streets, and we need more folks like you. And I hope some young folks are watching now that are smart like you and innovative and aggressive, and that they'll want to sign up. We have, what is it, 30% or something of our senior leadership of the city police department leaving in the next few years, retiring. And so we need more people like you to be leaders and to step up. So please help us to find more like you to bring in. And thank you for being a great example.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you as well. What you did is just, it's truly not something that can be taught. It's intrinsic within you, and, you know, thanks to your parents, I'm sure, for instilling those values in you, to just continue to be tenacious. And like Councilman Carlson said, we're thrilled to have you on the force. And I would not, I mean, not that I have any say in this, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it sounds like detective material to me. So anyway, yeah, so congratulations, and just keep doing what you're doing. And I'm sure we will see you higher up sooner rather than later.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much for what you do for the city of Tampa. And you can definitely tell that you're a police officer and not a politician, because the time you were speaking, your back was to the camera. So that's the difference. And Mr. Ford, if you're ever at a loss for words, just turn to your right and ask Charlie. He's got plenty of them for you. You know, it's so important, and the most important thing in our society, in our city, is the safety and security of our citizens, and especially some of the most vulnerable citizens that are out there, you know, doing the work and assisting with people in the service industry that are face to face. And, you know, what an incredible thing that you did to be able to solve this in such a short order, to provide that at least that sense of security for the folks that are out there every day. And on behalf of my family and the folks that I interact with, thank you very much for your service. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
By all accounts, you've exceeded expectations, and that is a wonderful thing. Thank you for all that you do for the city of Tampa and keeping us safe. If every call is like that, we are in great shape.
Thank you.
And sir, I just want to say thank you for the sacrifice that you make every time you put on that uniform, you and everybody behind you, all of TPD. And thank you especially to your family, because it's not easy, and the sacrifice that they make. You're out there tirelessly, fearlessly, as proven here. I mean, this is the stuff. Amazing work. You know, this is the stuff that people see and inspires them to become a police officer, to become a law enforcement officer. So thank you very much. Very, very much deserved. And, thank you, sir. Congratulations. And Councilman Vieira, yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and happy birthday. And, sir, thank you for all your service. Council members are 100% on point. I'm so glad you have your mom and your dad there. I have a son. And I'm sure they must be beaming with pride to see what's become of their son, a cop, a community hero, and a good man who puts himself in danger. You know, police officers have learned this, which is some folks in the public may waver, elected officials, whatever, nationally waver, et cetera, cities may waver, but y'all can never, ever waver in your commitment to public safety, and you're a real symbol of that. So to mom and dad out there, God bless you and congratulations on having such an amazing young son. All of City Council are so happy to have him. Thank you.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, next up we have Firefighter of the Quarter. Mr. Shelby, does Charlie have Firefighter of the Quarter as well?
I think so.
Okay, so you're just taking a photo? Okay, yeah, we're waiting for Councilman Miranda, he's coming back in. Yeah, Chief Tripp, you want to kick it off? He's coming? Okay.
He's running.
There he is. All right, here we go.
Chairman, again, it's my honor to be out of breath. No, it's my honor to be here in front of each and every one of you and all of the audience. Again, we honoring a individual who's giving a lot to this city and doing what he can to make the city a safer place, this time in the fire department. And I'll have the chief of the fire department come up, Mr. Tripp and say whatever Tripp and say why he was chosen.
Good morning, Council. Barbara Tripp, Fire Chief at Tampa Fire Rescue. And of course, welcome back and happy birthday. So, well, I am definitely honored to be here for this young man because I had the pleasure of introducing him to Tampa Fire Rescue a little less than 2 years ago. So it is wonderful to see that this young man has went above and beyond because he has a passion for the fire service as well as the community. So let's talk about why we presented him. We're going to present him today with this service. So basically, while firefighter Justin Molinari, I get that messed up, Molinari, while he was off duty traveling back to Tampa after visiting family in South Florida, traffic on the interstate came to a screeching halt. Firefighter Molinari saw a large cloud of dust and a tire bounce across the roadway as his truck came to a stop. He knew there was a serious accident that had just happened. Without hesitation, he jumped into action. He exited his vehicle. He began to survey the scene because that's part of what we do, scene safety. He wanted to make sure not only was he going to help someone, but the scene was safe for him as well. So bystanders had begun to gather and assuming someone was calling 911. So of course, he made the notion to someone, hey, call 911. He began to proceed to the individual. He saw what appeared to be a single vehicle rollover accident with a father and a daughter that had been ejected onto the roadway. He identified himself and he began to assist the Florida Wild Commissioner officer to tell him who he were, where he worked, and what his skills were. With that being said, he jumped into action. He noticed a female pediatric patient that someone had tied a shirt around her leg because she was losing a lot of blood. With that, after he continued to assess her, he saw that she had an open femur fracture, meaning her bone was exposed. So what he did, he knew he had a stop the bleed kit in his car. So he began to return to his vehicle. He retrieved his stop the bleed kit, and basically he started presenting treatment to this young patient. Once he contacted the Florida Wild Game Commissioner, he told them that he requests a medevac, meaning he wants an airplane, helicopter to evacuate this patient because she has some serious injuries. So with that being said, he continued to assist the patient with her injuries. Prior to the fire department getting there, arriving on scene, he began to work with the medics and began packing the patient up. And then, of course, the patient was airlifted to further treatment to a trauma center. Both patients had significant injuries, and the situation was without a doubt made better because of firefighter Justin Molinari. With that being said, this young man has been on the job for, like I say, less than 2 years, and he is very compassionate. He is driven to help his community. He is currently in the HCC program as a paramedic, and he takes full pride and passion in his community. And he also served the public in Sulphur Spring as well as the Forest Hill area. So with that being said, that is why he has been chosen as firefighter for the third quarter for Tampa Fire Rescue.
Thank you. Now the community who has some good for you, I think will stand up to you and say, again, Mr. Molinari.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. It sounds like Miranda, but with a higher attitude.
Good morning, Council. Mike Billick, Secretary of Tampa Firefighters, joined today by Kurt Terrell, Vice President. Justin, we'd like to congratulate you on behalf of all the members of Tampa Firefighters Local 754. We are so proud of you for the way that you handled yourself as a young guy out in a remote area with no resources, and you took complete control of the scene, and you made everyone here in the city of Tampa so proud. I'd like to share something about firefighter Molinari. He's a 20-year-old guy, a young guy. He's got pride and passion. Okay, he takes everything that he does to the highest standard. And when he cleans the station in the morning, he takes the toilet paper and he rolls it and folds it, and then he takes it off of the rack and goes over to the sink and presses the toilet paper that he's folded with the faucet. So as when you go into the restroom, it looks like you're at the Waldorf Astoria. It is, so he takes everything that he does and he puts everything he has into it, and we couldn't be more proud of him. So congratulations. With a plaque for you, made by proceedings. That's awesome. And a gift card for you to use.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Nothing like a clean bathroom. Thank you, sir.
That's okay. That's okay.
Good morning again, Council. Christina Duran on behalf of Busch Gardens, Tampa today. Congratulations and thank you for assisting citizens not only in Tampa, but everywhere in Florida. That's quite an accomplishment. So Busch Gardens would like to present you with 4 complimentary tickets for your family to enjoy the park in recognition of your great service.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a good day.
Morning, Council. Bill Roland from the Strass Center for the Performing Arts. An amazing story, and the fact that you were able to be so focused and calm and get through there and help those people. So thank you for everything you do and for all of you what you do. We have 2 tickets for the Strass Center for the Performing Arts with some complimentary cocktails at the bar.
Thank you
Enjoy.
very much. I appreciate it.
Morning, Council. Mike MacArthur, Steps Towing Service. Congratulations on a job well done.
Thank you, sir.
Chief, I want to start by saying Friday night my daughter was involved in a very serious accident, and your team was on the spot, and if it wasn't for you guys and TPD, you guys are amazing. So, and it reflects to the job that you do, and thank you for everything you do for our community. Job well done. On behalf of Todd Stepp and Steps Towing Service, we'd like to present you with a gift card for dinner and a night out in our company limousine. Enjoy it, take advantage of it, and congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir.
Good morning, Council. I'm Grace from Bill Curry, accompanied by Leo and Justin. We thank you so much for your service. That was an amazing story. Job well done. We heard that you liked fishing, so we ended up getting you Tampa Fishing Outfitters gift card and a Bill Curry swag bag.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Council. Leah Van Name on behalf of Tampa Theater. Thank you so much for everything that you do for our community. We truly appreciate you. And this is a gift membership, so you could come and visit us on the street. It has candy. It includes discounted movie tickets, a free tour of the theater, and many other goodies. So thank you so much.
Good morning, my name's Mary Lou Bailey.
Mark Angie with the Zoo.
I'm here on behalf of the Board of Directors of Zoo Tampa. We've purchased you an annual membership to the zoo, and it does include access to come to our special events like Christmas in the Wild and things like that, so enjoy it in good health. I wanted to thank you for your service and your quick thinking and your responsibility. It sounds like you have a great career in front of you. You're off to a great start, and I admire your courage.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your service, and thank you to all of you who serve. You guys are awesome.
It's people like you that give us hope for the next generation. So you're not even old enough to drink, are you? So, I was going to say, go have a drink, but yeah, no, yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning, Firefighter Molinari. Unbelievable story. Good morning, Chief, and the rest of the team. Again, I won't stumble on my words today on this one, but the Glazer family and our entire organization, thank you for your passion and your will to serve. As a husband and a parent, I got to tell you, I feel safer with all of you doing what you do and appreciate what you do every day. So we have a little tradition at $1. We give out a game ball for anybody that goes over and above, and you and your family deserve this. So thank you very much.
Morning. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Steve Michelini. First, hats off to the training center and your mentors and all of your compatriots that have brought you along the way and instilled in you that desire to help other people. That's something you can't ever take away. So anyway, with that, on behalf of Meat Market and Old Hyde Park, we're presenting you with a gift certificate. So you can go enjoy yourself over there for lunch or dinner. On behalf of Yummy House China Bistro, providing you another gift certificate. Enjoy yourself over there. On behalf of the Chicho Restaurant Group, we're providing you with another gift certificate. Enjoy yourself there. And Bella Brava over in the Midtown section, you can enjoy yourself there. Here are your letters and your gift certificates. Go enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much, sir.
All I can say is, wow. I mean, what else is there to say? Thanks for jumping in, and thanks for knowing what to do and helping those poor folks. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Again, council members, just what we had, the police officer of the month and now the firefighter of the quarter. What is it that you do on a daily basis is what exemplifies what happened here this morning. You had the presence of mind, not only to stop, which normal people, but you had the ability of your training, the ability of things that you've done with all your peers here that you work with on a daily basis that gave you that instinct to say, no, there's something wrong there, I gotta go look at it. When you got there, you had the presence of mind to say, wow, this is just not simple. This has become something that really needs, you went back to your vehicle to get what that bone and that protrusion on that person was sticking out, and you did what you had to do. More than likely, you saved a life. It's extraordinary what you did, and you didn't do it because of reflexes. You did it because you wanted to do it. Why? Because the training that all of you get in the fire department to do what you do on a daily basis is something that most of us don't even know what it is. And for that reason, because you did what you were trained to do, more likely, in your case, maybe you would have done it if you didn't have the training, because you looked like you want to do things. The only thing I'm bothered by that side that you have here, I used to have that. If they do that now in the barbershop, I'd bleed to death. But anyway, I want to thank you for being who you are, for the council recognizing you for what you did, what the Chief Tripp talked about, Officer J.D. Molinari is something exemplary that most people would just keep on going like it is not. Somebody will take care of it. Don't worry about this. Society is, somebody will stop. You did what you were trained to do, and you set a standard, not only for the fire department, but for all that work in the same business that you do to save lives. You go in when others are leaving. And for that, we want to say thank you very much on behalf of Tampa City Council and all the citizens of the city of Tampa. Muchísimas gracias. Congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
And if you'd like to say a few words.
Absolutely. Good morning, council. Happy birthday. Just want to thank each and every one of you for having me this morning. It really is an honor and a pleasure. I'd like to thank the chief staff of coming here today and supporting me. I'd like to thank my parents. They're my biggest inspiration and the support and guidance. I really, truly appreciate it. I wouldn't be here without my father. My father is a first-generation fireman, so grew up in a firehouse, wanted to follow his footsteps, and I landed right here in the Tampa Bay area. So I'd like to thank my crew, Captain Carter, Dakota, Jermaine, and Poole. I work with those guys day in and day out, 24 hours a day. We go through a lot, but it's having a tight crew, and you know, the love and compassion, the training, the hard work that we put in really keeps us together. And each and every day I'm honored, and it's an honor and a pleasure to go to work and serve the citizens that we do. Thanks to everyone else who came out, all the chiefs back there, captains, drivers, lieutenants, firefighters. I really do appreciate you guys coming, and we'll get back to it. Alrighty, thank you very much.
Councilmember Vieira.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, sir, for all your service. You know, you come from a very fast-moving station. You know, it's funny, if you look at stations like 11, 13, 18, 20, 25, but some of these stations that have been around for a while, you have a lot of people who are very dedicated to those stations, even though they're very fast-moving, burdensome stations, because they're people like you. They stay longer than what they have to at those stations in terms of their terms of duty, what have you, because they're here to not just serve the public, but to serve the most vulnerable members of our public. So what you did is stellar. Again, I'm so glad to see your parents there, and your words about your father, I think, touched everybody here. So just thank you for all that you do, sir. God bless you. Dios te bendiga, and thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Henderson.
I'm actually very moved by your story. The fact that you were actually off duty and took the time to care for someone who needed it in a time of need is just very impressive. And I know that your station is very proud of you for doing that. You are young, and people are watching you, even within the confines of where you work in that building. If the attention to toilet paper is important to you, certainly you caring for a child like that in a time like that is just, I'm moved by it, really. Congratulations, keep it up, and I can see if you continue to do that level of service, you will be a great credit to this city on every call.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, you know, leave it up to a labor brother to embarrass you like that in publicly and bring it up that story. And I can relate as somebody who came from labor. You know, and talk about literally saving life and limb. What a great story to hear this morning, and inspirational. But again, you know, to be one up by embossing toilet paper over the accomplishments. So forever going to be remembered for that, by the way. And if this first career, if you get tired of that, I think you have a career in politics. Man, you come across so well. You're so eloquently spoken, and obviously you've got the heart and the soul and the commitment to do something. So hopefully you'll continue in your public service, and maybe you consider politics in your future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Hurtag.
I also want to echo thanks, and it makes perfect sense that you come from a firefighter family, because after hearing your story, I thought, wow, you were just born to be someone who cares for others. And, I'm so glad that you are talking about the people who you've learned from as well, but it's obviously in your nature. You had a kit in your car. That was also pretty amazing. I think it's wonderful that you just had the forethought, and at such a young age to be confident enough to go into that situation just speaks volumes to who you are as a person. And just want to thank everyone who works with you, and I know that you'll continue to learn from everyone. Best of luck in school, and I know we'll be seeing more of you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I want to thank you and your father and your colleagues for your hard work and your service to our community. Would love to learn more. It sounds like you had either you have a natural leadership ability that we all see, or you had a lot of training, or both, in high school and college. And you have that servant leadership attitude, where you want to help other people, and that's what our community needs more of. So I'm thankful that you're at the city, and thankful you're in this position. And I'm the kind of person that I get queasy listening to medical things. I started to get queasy when she was talking about this case. I thought I might have to walk out, but I didn't want to be rude. And so I'm so thankful that there are folks that will go in there and do that. We're all eventually going to probably need to call 911 and have some kind of service. And so it's great to know that there are smart, committed folks like you out there to help us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I met you briefly downstairs on the way in. I just want to say you make us all proud. You make this whole city proud, the whole department. I see your dad beaming there. It's a very special day. But you're a very special individual. 20 years old, and you're a hero. You're a hero. This is what people look up to, And again, as I told the police officer of the month, you're an inspiration. People are watching this, and I know you've inspired a lot of folks today. And this is just the beginning, because you're young, and what a way to start a career. So we're honored to have you as part of the Tampa Fire family, the City of Tampa family. Again, thank you. There aren't enough words for what you do, so congratulations. Very well deserved.
Thank you, sir.
If I may I ask the father and mother to stand and to be recognized? How about the grandparents come up? How about the great-great-grandparents come up?
Keep it going.
Thank you very much for what you've done.
Thank you, sir.
Certainly raised a great son.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Tripp, while you're here, do you want to briefly touch on what we had talked about earlier? Yes, ma'am.
So, good morning again, Barbara Tripp, Fire Chief for Tampa Fire Rescue. So unfortunately, on Sunday afternoon that we had, I want to say when I say a system failure, we had one of our service to go out with our CAD. The CAD is not down, it was a portion of the CAD. And that's just like with any technology, of course, when you have a hardware failure, you have to get individuals in to troubleshoot. So we reached out to the vendors came in, and we've been working 24 hours. So what we did, we took the backup server and has actually made that the primary server. They have entered a lot of information. It went live as of last evening. And so the men and women are continuing with the service as far as providing service to the community. They have not been any gap in service when to responding to calls, maybe a second here and there, but for the most part, I've been hearing a lot of rumors of 30 minutes, and that's not true as far as the delay with response time, as far as getting to the public.
Thank you very much.
So just wanted to give you an update on that.
We, I was contacted, I'm assuming all of council was contacted by the union, and, we want to be responsive and respectful of that. Thank you for the update and for the clarification. When the union reaches out, because they represent so many people, we have to take it very seriously because it's, it's in the best interest of the community, so.
And that's true, and that's why I've been trying to talk to Local 754 for them to reach out to us as well, as far as administration, so we can give them that communication. And we have been providing that communication throughout the shifts with the shift commanders as well as the district chiefs to let them know what's going on, and as far as the backup, you always need an alternate or a backup service. And with that, we went into backup mode. A lot of things took to manual. We had to do manual things, but for the most part, as far as responding to the community, providing the service, it was no gap in service.
Councilmember Hurtak.
I thank you for the update. I appreciate it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we were talking about replacing this system?
So we're replacing the whole CAD system.
Yes.
This was just a portion of it. It was a server that had a hardware failure. It was no break-in security as far as cybersecurity interference or anything, none of that. I want to thank the T&I department for helping. They've been working around the clock, as well as our communication department, to get this system up, but it's a service, a portion of the CAD. The CAD itself is still working, it's just a server that went out of service.
Okay, but we are working on
Yes, ma'am.
replacing
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
Where are we in that?
We are finalizing the RFP phase of it, and we should have a vendor, we hoping with very soon, I'm gonna say within the next month or so. But
Great.
we're going through evaluation. I've been working with Mr. Russell and his team, and we have made some great progress to make sure we get the company to come in, or the vendor to come in and provide the service that we need for Tampa Fire Rescue with the type of calls and the number of calls that we run every year.
Excellent, and I'm hoping that there would be a redundancy in servers with our new service. So I would absolutely hope for that, and would be happy to include that in any type of funding that was necessary.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Councilwoman Hurtak just hit on what one of my questions was going to be, is protecting for the future, ensuring something like this doesn't happen again, with reference to redundancy. So as we build out the system, will there be redundancy in the new system?
So just to let you know about any system, okay? Any system that you have, if you have a system failure, you always have a backup. So when we say it won't happen again, nothing in life is guaranteed that it won't happen again. But with a situation like this, our CAD system have been down before, and we've gotten it up. That's no difference than, I want to say, a car, air conditioner. You have to troubleshoot whatever the situation is.
Well, I come from a safety-related background in air traffic control, and we have redundancy, and we have a zero. I mean, really, you can't be down completely. So in something that's so critically important as this, I would think that we'd have redundancy so that you wouldn't have to go to a manual backup system, that you'd have be able to, automatically switch over to something like that. So as we build out that new system, I agree with Councilwoman Hurtak.
We will make sure that is into play.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And could you report back to us on that when you get more information, and specifically if you want to just get back to myself, I'm sure the other council would like to know that too. So it's just to know that we, and it satisfies, not just what we heard from labor, but also what I think the needs of the community are, that we're building that type of redundancy and backup into the new system as we fund something new. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else?
Thank you, Chief Tripp. I did not hear from labor on this issue, so any updates that you want to give to me directly, I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am, I sure will. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, next up we have FDOT to provide an update regarding projects within the city of Tampa, and then we'll go to public comments. Do we have FDOT online, or do we have someone from the department here in person? Are they online, Sue Lynn? No? All right, let's wait and see. Thanks, good to see you. Captain Carter, that's right. All right, do we have FDOT here for number 3? No? All right, well, thank you very much. Thank you. All right, we're gonna go past number 3 unless somebody logs in, but they may not be here. So we'll go to public comment. We have 3 registered online, but we'll go to the in-person first. If you're here for public comment, please approach the lectern. You have 3 minutes to speak and just state your name. And this is on any item on the agenda that is not a public hearing. Good morning.
Good morning, Council. My name is Bobby Creighton. I live at 1213 East 33rd Avenue. I'm here today as Vice President of Ypres Heights Neighborhood Association and Watch Group. And I would like to extend our gratitude and thanks for a really successful project that we hosted last Saturday. I feel like a lot of times when you hear from the public, it's that they've heard a no or they've heard a not yet, and something never comes. But fortunately, this past Saturday we had a really successful project in partnership with the Parks and Recreation Department. Our neighborhood association formed a committee to form a vision plan for our neighborhood park. We shared that with the Parks and Recreation Department. And every step of the way, they were very responsive in partnering with us. They made it easy. They were able to donate 51 trees for us to plant at our local park. We got supplies from Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful and organized our neighborhood to plant all those trees in under an hour. So it's one of those projects where it's a win-win-win for everybody. The city got to address their goal of planting more trees. The Parks Department formed a better relationship with our neighborhood, and we got to make moves on our vision plan. So just wanted to express our gratitude as a neighborhood association and thank John Delaquila, who was the supervisor for that park and really helped us with that project, and just really say thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it. Next speaker? Yes, sir.
My name is Pastor Williams, located at 1112 East Scott Street, Paradise Missionary Baptist Church. You know, we thank God for this day, whether you all thank Him or not. But I thank God for every day He gives me life, because I'm heading to the graveyard. And for me, that's going to be a pleasure. God is so good to all of us. Many people don't believe in God. That's their business. But I'm a bona fide believer in God Almighty, because He will let me be born into this world. I gave a flyer to the counselor, and for him to give one to the mayor. I'm not going to give all of y'all one, because when I pass y'all a flyer up there, yeah, no one will never respond. But this one here, I want to make sure that the mayor gets this, because the way they treat people of color is less than a damn dog. And we got to stand up. You know what? Some of the people that I try to stand up for, they be against me. But you got to understand, when you put God first in your life, it doesn't make no difference who you stand up for. God has been so good to me, and I give Him the glory and the praise every day of my life. And, you know, my brother was in World War II, just in case if y'all don't know. He went to the service when he was only 16 years old. My mama got a telegram long time ago, they used to deliver the telegram on their little bicycle. Brought it to my mom, and she found out my brother had been killed. Not only was he killed, but he had been buried. So my daddy went up to New York and told the officer and everything. He was in the service. He served in World War II, and they had to assume him, bring him up. Y'all don't give me a chance enough to speak my speech. Can't y'all give me a little bit more time, please?
Keep going.
Okay. So my daddy told him, say, well, he was in the service, and he should have a military burial. And sure enough, they wouldn't tell him how he died. But when they took him up out of the grave, found all kind of knots upside the head. Police had done beat him upside the head. He told me he gonna give me time. Police had done beat him upside the head and buried him, everything. You know, it's so sad people can hate people of color so bad for no reason at all. Not only do they hate colored people, they hate little white children. White boys go out there and kill little innocent children in school, which is ridiculous. But they do it. They done did it many times. And so that's why I get out of my sick bed to come down here to try to talk to you. But nobody want to listen. But counsel, I pray to God that you give that cover sheet to the mayor. And I want to make sure, but I'm gonna give everybody one day sooner or later, because I'm not a person that's gonna sit down or lay down and keep quiet. I got to tell what's going on. The truth is the light. And who is the light? Jesus Christ. I thank God that he is the light. Because of what we doing down here, they call the United States of America, good God Almighty, it stinks.
Thank you very much, sir.
And God has been so good to us. We got to give him praise and give him more glory. You know what they're doing now? They're trying to take my church. 1112 East Scott Street. You all come down there. And you know what I used to do? I used to feed the poor people. The guy come in there with their duffel bag and bicycles, come on in the church. I used to welcome them in the church.
Thank you
I ain't
very
gonna
much,
put
sir.
nobody out of the church because they not dressed like we are or like y'all are. We must do what God wants us to do. And that's to try to please all of God's children. Thank you for that time.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it so much. And God bless all of you.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, ma'am.
God bless.
Happy birthday, Chairman.
Thank you.
Good morning, City Council Commissioners, members of the community, and staff. My name is Josephine Ancion, and I am the Community Resource Specialist for Sunrise Community. We are a nonprofit serving individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. First and foremost, I want to take a moment to express my gratitude for your time and dedication to your community. Your commitment to improving the lives of those around you is truly inspiring, and we appreciate the opportunity to share our work with you. At Sunrise, our mission is to provide person-centered supports to the people that we serve. We offer a wide range of services, from community-based residential services, day programs, and community options for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We have been providing these services to many families across Florida and 6 other states for over 55 years. I wanted to thank you all again for your service and invite you and your staff to visit our organization and meet the individuals that we serve. We will be delighted to offer you a tour of our operations and answer any questions you may have about our work here in Tampa. We look forward to collaborating with the City Commission and participating in outreach activities here in Tampa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next speaker. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy birthday and welcome back. Reading the, I'm kind of lost for thoughts because I'm thinking about my time on the meter. But anyway, I was really inspired by that young man this morning because I was just thinking about the pathway for so many young 20-year-olds that can serve as an example. if just given some opportunity, some leadership, some guidance, having his parents here, his grandparents here, some of that is so missing in so many communities, that if young people can have that opportunity of turnaround. And so when I'm looking in the agenda, I'm just thinking about jobs, opportunities, and hope can be the beginning of that. I'm concerned about the overlay for East Tampa. I believe that can be a first start when we are talking about bringing in the wealth gap, that if people had the opportunity to, say, have accessory dwelling unit is one of the biggest pieces and concerns that I have for East Tampa. I believe it can offer stabilization in our community as well as building for better family involvement. I am also concerned too about the $12 million that will be, I think it's 106, well, the big housing development, and the $12 million that's gonna be an interest-free loan. When given the presentation the other day, out of 354 units, only 6 of the units is for 3-bedroom. And so that tells me that it's quite opposed to families. Out of 354 units, only 6 of the units will be for 3-bedroom. And so while in East Tampa, we have a lot of families that need housing stabilization, that wouldn't be one of them. And, you know, I don't have the time to continue to argue to show that every synonym that we have used to describe the needs of what poor people need. If we say housing, then we got to say workforce housing. If we say workforce housing, we have to say affordable housing. We need housing. And a couple of weeks ago, from your real estate department, you were shown lots that was unbuildable for traditional. We need to press the gas on that and accelerate very, very fast so we can start stabilizing in East Tampa so we can give young people, just like that young man, the ability to hope. But I believe that the hope starts with having a housing foundation as its guiding point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am, next speaker.
Happy birthday,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman. I think I'm item 126. Am I still allowed to talk?
Yes, you
Okay.
can. It's not a public hearing, so.
Okay. Hello, council. I stand before you again in regards to College Hill Cemetery, located on the land which is currently now the Italian Club Cemetery. I am Angela Alderman, the great niece and direct descent of Francisco Martinez, who is among the 1,200 lost at College Hill. I have diligently been working to restore the honor and dignity to those lost who are now being dishonored by the Italian Club and used as a parking lot. As for many of the bodies who reside there, we will never know where they are because the Italian Club has reburied on plots that the historical map overlay shows had burials from College Hill, which was reported by Paul Guzzo and the Tampa Times. All I can do now is work to preserve the graves that still are untouched, which means will I ever find my great uncle? I hold faith that it's possible, but I will do all I can do to protect each soul there that is still lost and in their final resting place. I have been in contact with Carl Brody from the city attorney's office, and he's been extremely helpful with updates. When he spoke to the Italian Club, they said they would provide results of the scan in September, which in my eyes is unacceptable. They have had ample time to provide the scan results, and to me, this shows stalling. I have rights as well from my great uncle who is buried on that land. There were 2 emails sent to the Italian Club from the Cemetery Task Force in regards to questions that needed to be answered, and they ignored both emails. I come before council today for answers. Again, I appreciate all of your work with me coming and being here today. And I just humbly ask what can be done to get the scan results to find closure for the lost. I am extremely disappointed at the lack of empathy the Italian Club has displayed for the lost within College Hill. My great uncle will always live on in my heart, as will the 1,200 that are lost. I will not stop until there's closure and answers to where the 1,200 people are or where they were moved to. It is simple. They scanned, now show us the results and answer the questions that were sent to them on 2 separate occasions. Blatantly ignoring such requests is speaking volumes to me as to the truths that the bodies still remain there. Thank you so much for your time and understanding. I appreciate it.
very much.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Humira Afzal. Tampa has a huge shortage of sidewalks and protected bike lanes. Where we do have them, we let them be taken over by cars, trash cans, porta potties. And my topic for today, rental scooters and bicycles. This relates to item 94, which is extending the scooter rental program in the city, and that's actually been pulled off the consent agenda for separate consideration. Anyway, I'm a big fan of bicycles and scooters. They're an alternative to cars, and in some areas are a very quick and inexpensive means of transportation in a city where mass transit is nearly non-existent. I actually came here today on a scooter that I own. One of you saw me. And it was a lot faster than coming by car. I also support having rental scooters and bicycles. However, the program needs to have more rules and require companies to ensure that the rental scooters and bicycles are not scattered all over the city sidewalks and bicycle lanes. They create a hazard for everyone else, especially someone in a wheelchair or a walker. I brought photos. Here are some examples.
We can turn on the overhead so we can see the photos.
Where's the on button?
They'll do it. There it is.
There
Yes.
we go.
Yes.
Okay. Scooters parked in the bike lane. Very nicely parked, but mind you, they are in the bike lane. Oh, actually on the way here too, I almost stopped like 3 times to take more photos, but I didn't. Okay, this is a double. This one shows you a car and a scooter, smack in the middle of the sidewalk. Bike, smack in the middle of the sidewalk. Okay, I'm going to be honest, I'm showing you this one because my dog is also in it. Smack in the middle of the sidewalk. Another one, in the sidewalk. In the bike lane. You get the idea. Last one. Here's a whole group of them. I have hundreds of these photos. Every other city that I've ever been in that has a rental scooter program, they require the companies to make sure they are properly parked somewhere. I don't know why it's not in the agreement. Maybe it is. I couldn't find it. But there is technology. It's very easy to get these companies to park, to force the users to park them in a proper place. When you keep renewing these agreements, they have to be changed. We have so few sidewalks. We have so few real bike lanes. We can't keep letting them be taken over by other things. So as you continue with these agreements with the scooter companies and with the rental companies, please get stuff in there to force them to keep them off of our sidewalks, to park them somewhere proper so the sidewalks actually get used for what they're supposed to be used for. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
I have one also.
Yep.
Hi, my name is Dave Coleman, and I go to a lot of meetings, and I was on my way up to the Live, Grow, Thrive meeting last month, and I snapped this picture of a mom squatting amongst the trash with her children waiting for her bus stop, for her bus to come. I did call Hart, and they cleaned it up a day or so afterwards, and I also mentioned it to the county, but I just wanted to bring this picture here. This can't go on. We need to have somebody monitoring our bus stops and make sure that somebody, I mean, she couldn't even sit down. They were literally hovering, squatting above the garbage, waiting for the bus stop. This is a blight on our city. And now, on a positive note, I also, last month, where am I up to on here? I attended the Sulphur Springs Traffic and Safety meeting. That was one of the best meetings that I have ever attended that the city put on. There were tables set up with giant maps, and there were 6 to 7 people, citizens, there were 40 members of the community there, with one person from the city as a representative at the table, taking notes on everything that was being said. And they handed them markers, and they were marking the maps, and they were saying, this is what's going on here, and this is, it was really involved. Please get in touch with the city workers that conducted that meeting and carry that as a theme forward to get public input back. That meeting, the Live, Grow, Thrive that I attended, there were 6 people there. This meeting, there were 40 people there. Please look back on the notes and review what came out of that meeting. They talked about sidewalks. They talked about not having curbs and sidewalks, so cars are parked all over lawns, so people can't walk on the side of the road. They have to walk in the middle, which causes problems with cars and traffic. They talked about not having police response in Sulphur Springs. They talked about being assaults and no police showing up. One table said, we've traded each other's numbers and we're going to call 8 at a time when something happens next time. We can't have a blighted area that used to be a pearl of our city. I'm kind of going off of my script here, but with the Man Park being rejuvenated and the boat ramp that the canoe launch you just put in, with the theater being rejuvenated, it's a bedroom community. It needs to stay that way. But the blight along Nebraska Avenue, oh gosh, and and the needles and the homeless camp that's in Tower Park is totally unacceptable. I'm all for finding answers for homeless, but homeless cannot be causing residents to live in fear and make those areas useless to them. I went off script, so now I'm really messing up and I'm done with my time. If anybody wants to talk to me more about what I learned at that meeting, actually, you can look it up yourselves. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Please state your name.
Good morning, Council, and happy birthday, Mr. Chairman. Todd Josko. I am here this morning on behalf of NAIOP Tampa Bay. NAIOP is the region's commercial real estate trade association, and I'm here simply to offer kudos to city staff for their work on the implementation of Senate Bill 102, the Live Local Act. They'll be doing a presentation to y'all later today. As someone who works throughout the west coast of Florida, different municipalities, I can tell you that the city of Tampa is far beyond where a lot of other jurisdictions are on this piece of legislation. They're still kind of figuring it out. Your city staff has conducted stakeholder outreach. They are coming to you today with policies and procedures in place, which I respectfully think do a great job of balancing the spirit of the legislation with protecting the best interests of the city of Tampa. So Abby and her team at Development Services, Kate and her team at Legal, they've worked together to put together a good product to you, and congratulations to them on a job well done. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, ma'am.
My name's Danielle Ferrari, and I own a business in Seminole Heights called Valhalla Resale. And I'm coming here today to talk about the Seminole Heights, or the Southeast Seminole Heights Flooding Relief Project. All council members have already gotten a letter from me about that. And I'm here to sort of carry on the flag because I know a lot of residents and other business owners have brought forth other issues about this project continuously. I worked in heavy civil construction for over a decade, and this is the worst run project I've ever witnessed. And the city's continued disregard of public safety, of litter issues, of harassment, discrimination, retaliation, property damage, theft is just really concerning, and I'm not gonna rest until the residents and business owners of Seminole Heights really have gotten justice. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Council. Welcome back. Y'all look refreshed. Happy birthday, Councilman Maniscalco.
Thank you very much.
The young man, the firefighter. So when the description of who he was, what he did was identified, or you know, that story was being told, what struck me was that he was very particular in regards to the toilet tissue. That, you know, that's a joke, right? It's fun. But most of all, he had the heart to serve. It's more than just, even in what I do, right? If it's a job to you, then you're not gonna do the extra. But if you have the heart for that job, you're gonna go and see because you care, right? And that was so important. That was the biggest thing I identified with that young man, that he has the heart. And no, he should not be a politician. He should be gearing towards, if he continues that, he'll be the chief of police, a fire chief. I'm a fire chief. So I was just so impressed, and he at just a young age with just discipline, heart, and grit. I really appreciated that story and appreciated him. Accessory dwellings. I agree with that, but if council push forth as they appear they are, I think that everything with accessory dwelling is a plus. But my only concern with accessory dwelling is individuals saying it is for housing and it end up being an Airbnb. So a way that you can prevent that or code that or whatever, I don't know where it is. I know, a while back we were discussing it, but I see a lot of it is being pushed forward. So how do you prevent those dwellings not to become Airbnb and they really be affordable housing because we're thinking outside of the box. It's a piece of the puzzle that fits because we're thinking differently around housing. So just be very mindful of that, because that's my only concern about that. I'm concerned about the new project that's coming up on Hillsborough. If it's true that it only has 6 units, that has 3 bedrooms, that's a concern of mine.
60 units.
So it's 63 bedrooms? Okay, then that's, okay. And what I've been reading in the newspaper, and we'll come back to this, the mobility department, resignations, and it appears that they're all women. That's troubling. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Before I begin, can I ask the city council, do you have the authority to fix the problem with the sidewalk that's trying to kill my 500-year-old tree? Because I've been told by Cal Hardy of the city of Tampa that it's his decision and not yours.
Cal Hardy told you that it was his decision?
Not the city council's.
Huh. Mr. Shelby, and I know there's more information to this, but.
Name? I don't.
What is your name for the record?
My name is Jill Corcoran, and I live across the street from the disaster area that is the Ritz-Carlton and related group construction site.
So, Mr. Shelby, the young lady has come to us several times, and she is across the street, as she just mentioned. The tree and the sidewalk in question, the city council have authority to halt, fix, order, request changes to that?
So they not kill the tree?
Well, certainly you have the ability to request information from staff and then take action based upon what it is they provide. Was this put in any sort of motion, or was this?
No, she's presented to us before, spoken to us before. You have photographs.
Several times.
So
Many.
What I think we should do is speak now,
Yes.
and then we can make an official motion as city council, and then take it from there.
This is the 500-year-old tree
if you can
that is right in front of my home.
Please state your name again.
I'm sorry,
just
my
for
name
the
is
record.
Jill Corcoran. I live at
Yes, ma'am.
2913 West Santiago Street, directly across the street from the disaster area that is the related group in Ritz-Carlton. I have this tree in my front yard, and this tree has a canopy that covers 4 of the homes of the 11 homes in the townhouses that I live in. We're being terrorized in our homes by these people. They drop garbage on our houses and into our bay every single day. They have let pieces of cardboard, cement, windows, stuffing, and even a full piece of plywood fly off of their buildings to have no one stop them from doing this. Now they want to put a sidewalk over this tree so that it kills it. I don't know if that's their end game, but I've been told very specifically by Mike Hammond of the related group that my home is an eyesore. And I'm sure that if he keeps terrorizing me, I'll leave it, they can buy it for a song. But that's really not going to happen. I've lived there for 20 years. This tree has lived there for 500 years. The Ritz-Carlton even has the nerve to put this on their website and to talk about the ancient oaks that line the street. I'm sorry, they don't anymore, and I'll tell you why. They cut them all down, and I watched them do it this week. Every tree along Isabella has been hacked to the ground. You've gotten rid of every tree over there. 98.2% of the trees on 22 acres are gone. We have a tree symposium tonight. I don't know if any of you will be joining, but I think that you should. We've decimated 3,300 acres of trees and canopy in our city for people like the Ritz-Carlton, the related group. They've practically raped those 22 acres. There's nothing left there but cement and dirt. And now to make matters worse, they want to kill off this tree by putting a sidewalk over it. But if that's not enough, they've also asked that the communication lines run right across the structural roots that keep that tree standing there. They want to drill through those to put the communication lines on my side of the street instead of theirs, where they have nothing but dirt and cement right now anyway. And nobody's stopping them. Nobody will, at the city will even listen to me at this point. They don't care. I'm just one single mom who has lived there for 20 years. I'm not a $22 billion corporation that is paying you to let them do all of this to our city. And I need to know who to talk to that can actually take some sort of action and stop these people.
So just to clarify, the sidewalk is on your side of Isabella, right?
I'm on Santiago Street, and there's never been a sidewalk on either side of Santiago Street. And there are 200 units that were affordable housing, people who actually walked up and down Bayshore regularly. Those have all been decimated for the 202 units that they're putting up of skyscrapers, of which the studio, the only one that's under $2 million, was $1.6 million, with a $3,200 monthly maintenance fee. So none of us are going to be able to live there. However, these people took all of this space, all of this time, and now they want to make my home a piece of trash too. They want to get rid of the trees. They want to eliminate part of my yard for the sidewalk, even though the sidewalk that I have, while it should be extended another foot, should be extended out towards the street, because everywhere else along Bayshore, that space of grass is between 12 inches and 24 inches. And at my house, it's 3 feet. And it's just something else that I have to mow, but they want to knock down my fence, my brick fence.
So what I think we should do under new business is either I'll make the motion or one of the council members specifically requesting that they stop this construction of this sidewalk in order to protect the tree, and then go and take it from there. Whether Mr. Hardy said he has the authority or not, I think we should make the request as a formal body so we can stop that and prevent this tree and any other damage from happening.
I would be very grateful. When can that be done?
Today, at the end of the meeting under new business, officially we would make the motion. I'll be happy to do it, or one of the council members, but Councilman Carlson.
Yeah, I just want to say, the city council is very limited at what we can do to stop the administration. We can pass a resolution or something this afternoon. In the case of a related group, most likely they'll ignore it. There are several examples where this administration is particularly cozy with this particular company. And I think you're going to get nowhere with the city. I think you need to go to the Attorney General, the Ethics Commission, FDLE, or some other group to try to appeal to stop this situation. It is an endemic situation that unfortunately, when it comes to certain particular companies, where certain former elected officials are lobbyists for them, or other,
like the mayor's wife,
people are, nothing happens. And so, to be really direct, if I were you, I wouldn't waste time, because we can pass a resolution today and nothing's going to happen. They're going to ignore it. Complaints about other companies get fixed right away, but for some reason, this company, nothing happens.
Well, in 2 instances, there would have been people killed if there had been people in the street. The one where they let the plywood fly off of their building, it sheared off the portico of one of our homes. Had there been anybody standing there, any of their friends, Uber Eats, Amazon, that person would have been killed. It took out 4 fences, and it took out the portico on their porch.
Councilman Clinton.
And nothing was done.
Yeah, I actually had gone and responded to the citizen about this a little while ago, and went out one day, and it was my understanding that the city was there to, because while I was there, the city was there. I'm assuming that they did not reach a decision that was equitable to you in that sidewalk during that time when I was there?
No, no, they haven't.
Yeah, it's if anybody from Related is listening, I don't have any tolerance for this either. I mean, this is one of those common sense things that that really government needs to intervene. because it is common sense that this should not occur, and it would be a travesty if it did. I fully support your agenda here, and if nobody else does, I'll make that motion under new business, but hopefully somebody from Related is listening and understands that, at least from one city councilman's perspective, that this is just completely outside of common sense, and they need to do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'll reach out to both of your offices to get the information that you recommended of the people I contact.
I am going to let my colleagues help you with that issue. I am incredibly concerned, and no one has talked about it yet, about trash flying off of a building.
Every day.
So have you at all spoken to anyone in code enforcement?
Yes.
Or I guess it's not code enforcement, it's the building department's code enforcement, construction services?
Unfortunately, they all have my number. Most of them won't answer the phone for me anymore.
So nothing is being done?
Nothing. I have 4 bags of trash I picked up out of my yard alone. My yard is minuscule. I'm not even in a quarter of an acre. And I've picked up 5 bags of trash, and they are in paper bags because I'm keeping them. I can drop them off here if you'd like, but the Ritz-Carlton group told me that we'll be along to pick up that trash. My question would be when? And how are you going to get it out of the bay? I belong to the women's club. That's another 3 or 4 doors down from me. Those people get as much trash in their yard as I do. And the answer to that is have your workers use a garbage can. Have you never heard of one? I'm not allowed to throw garbage on the ground where I work.
Yeah, that's a very big safety concern of mine. So I would absolutely love to help in that regard.
And I'm happy to provide photographic evidence of all of this.
Okay, thank you very much. My aide, Kelly Scharf, is in the red right there, so you can pass along information and it will get to all of our aides as well.
Thank you. I appreciate your attention to this.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, yes, sir. Councilman Vieira, please unmute yourself. You're still muted, sir.
I probably won't be here.
Go ahead.
Can you all hear me?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Thank you. During the motion, I would suggest respectfully that it not just be a resolution of council for a preference on this 500-year-old tree, but that we have somebody from staff come as well as somebody from Related come to speak on this issue, so that we can see if there can be a resolution of it as opposed to just a request whenever the motion's done, because this is a very obviously very, very acute, serious issue. That's all, since I probably won't be here for that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I see Nicole and Vic online. Did you want to speak?
Morning, Chair. Vic Pide, Director, Mobility Department. I just would like to assure council and the community that we have had 3 different tree experts work with the designer, the developer's designer, as well as our right-of-way permitting team. We have a tree expert on board as well. We're going to recommend a design that establishes a sand base and puts a sidewalk on top of that. We're very sensitive to this being a grand tree and not being impacted. And all parties are in agreement, those that are reviewing and designing this, that it will not kill the tree. For us, it's a matter of having walkability in the area. And even though there's a sidewalk on the south side, we want to make sure there's a sidewalk on the north as well. So in this case, we are preserving the tree. We're very sensitive to it, but also facilitating a sidewalk. And any other items, I'll be happy to clarify should there be questions.
Thank you very much. Nicole, Travis, anything?
Good morning, council. I just wanted to reassure you all that this issue has not been ignored, that Abby Feely has personally been involved in this and the complaints. They are picking up the trash. She has called Related to the carpet and had serious meetings and stern meetings with them. So I just, the comments that it's being ignored and nothing is happening is that staff is trying, and we would be happy to report back and bring the Related group to respond in outlining also what they have done to help prevent some of the trash. They are picking up trash sometimes. The resident picks up the trash before they picked it up, but we'll let them come and outline all of this information for you. But I assure you that we are involved and are trying very hard.
Thank you very much. All right, next speaker, yes, sir. Please state your name.
Mentisnot, Tampa, Florida. I want to say Uhuru. Uhuru means freedom in Swahili. Say we as African people should always be thinking about our freedom. And we should always be wise to everything that's going on around us. But not only what's contemporarily going on around us, but what has historically happened behind us to know how it got this way. It's interesting to see how capitalism can reduce rational thinking people, the masses of people, to nothing, to absolutely positively nothing. Comes down to city council and talk about garbage. African people suffering. We've been suffering for 623 years. And the height of the existence of the average African person you can see talks about absolutely positively nothing. Basketball, boxing, football, dancing, rapping, while most of the things that affects African people nobody talks about. Why is that? Because our white oppressors got it that way. Our white oppressors got it that way. We don't talk about infant mortality rate. We don't talk about alcoholism. We don't talk about drug addiction. We don't talk about the prison industrial complex. We don't talk about shortened life expectancy. We don't talk about a school system that we pay taxes to that don't educate. The average African person on earth has a second grade education. The average African person on earth has a second grade education, while white people going in outer space. Y'all spent 10 minutes talking about an MFN tree. And I can come here and talk about the reparations white folks owe us, and I'll walk away from this podium. They don't say a word about it. Not one single word. People come to a place where they talk about politics and they don't use the word capitalism or imperialism. They don't use the word oppression. They just talk about garbage. Strictly nonsense. Homelessness. Nonsense. Police violence. Nonsense. We have to talk about reparations and capitalism and imperialism and what it has done to African people, scared African people up for 623 years. That man right there done been down to the city, to the clerk of circuit court testifying against me for trying to talk about black people in this room, arrested on numerous occasions because y'all think y'all murdered Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and other people and think y'all got black folks scared. That's why black people don't come down here. They scared.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Shagret Doss, and I'm here and I'm going to keep coming until I get what I want, which is a public records request. And shout out to Sister Connie because she talked about housing. And I want to show everybody, this is what a reasonable public records request might look like. I don't know if this is upside down or what have you. But that's $70.
Turn it around, turn it around.
So now, thank you for helping me with the orientation. So we're going to talk about a few things. In 2017, I was arrested and charged with perjury. And I want to show everybody, because I guess you all don't believe me when I say I own property, see? My name right there at the top. There's from the property appraiser, and I'm going to get to the point. The property appraiser posted I was the owner. The house is up under it, clear as day. Here's the certificate of sale for that property. Certificate of title for the same property. Quitclaim deed that made it mine. Same thing applies in all the other 4 instances where I own property. Certificate of sale and title, property appraiser showing that I'm the owner. You can't see it. I'll make it clearer tonight on a podcast, but there it is because people question these things. But I don't make it up. I'm not that creative. I don't sing. I don't play any instruments. I can run good routes, catch a football, and I can dance. And I can read. And apparently somebody downtown thought it was kind of funny to the extent that I only got 5 pages, of course, of emails, but this is a public records request that came from the sheriff's office, and you're gonna see the name of somebody who the city of Tampa's, the Tribune is doing a little article on, making him out to be a great guy, but they didn't mention that this guy initiated a police investigation on me at the behest, apparently or allegedly, of that guy who used to be a judge in Hillsborough County. Now, up until 2 weeks ago, when you all went on vacation, I had the redacted version. So I didn't even know that this version actually existed.
Turn it around, it's upside down.
This version existed. So now you see who the state's lead witness was supposed to be, and I knew nothing of this other than the allegations. So, but I wanted to let everybody see this right here. They say theoretically, because I wanted to rush through this, theoretically, I guess he would have owned the properties on the day he made the allegation that he didn't own any property, which I never made, by the way, and if they think I did, tell them to produce it. I'll check the other property deeds, although I believe many of the deeds we did not post show the property in his name, which we now know is a lie, because we doubted he legally owned the property in spite of the deeds. So what you all have told everybody who owns a deed to a property, you don't even own your own property. You all take care. Shout out to University of Thomas Jefferson High School and Fred McGriff.
Thank you very much. Councilman Carlson.
I've heard you say this several times. I just want to let you know, I also file public records requests, and I also don't get responses, or it takes 2 or 3 months, and I have to pay as a city council member. And the Tampa Bay Times, Creative Loafing, and others have outstanding public records requests going back months that haven't been filled. Although some documents that are adverse to city council get leaked without a public records request. Documents that are adverse to administration take 2 or 3 months sometimes, and they're impossible to get, and they're incomplete even when we get them and pay for them. So I don't think city council has any authority to resolve this. If I were you also, I would take it to the Attorney General. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate it, but we're not talking about 2 or 3 months. We're talking about 6 years, because that's when the case was filed.
Thank you
And it's a
very
part
much.
of my request for discovery in my criminal case, which I still didn't get. You all take care, and I'll hand it over to.
Thank you very much, sir.
Chief of Staff.
All right, is there anybody else in the public that wishes to speak at this time? If not, we have 3 registered public comment speakers. That'll complete public comment after that. All right, we will go to Marcus is the first individual. Sir?
Hello. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate the opportunity to address the council on a policy matter that, as a longtime citizen of Tampa and resident of a rapidly developing neighborhood, I find somewhat concerning. I bring this to your attention.
Please state your name, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, Marcus Leinhardt.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Yep, I bring this matter to your attention so you're informed, because only recently did I become knowledgeable myself. I believe this impacts are substantial and numerous. It not only impacts the residents of the neighborhood, has potential to establish precedents, and negatively impacts consumers purchasing new homes in the city of Tampa. The policy in question is Section 553.791 of the Florida State Statute. This policy allows builders to elect to use one or more private providers to provide building code reviews and/or inspection services for a building permit application. This process allows a builder to submit a notice to a building official of use of private provider, the document stamped by the state of Florida, and then submitted to the city of Tampa. The verbiage of the document states the following. I understand that the local building official may not review the plan submitted or perform required building inspections to determine compliance with the applicable codes, except to the extent specified in the law. Instead, plans reviewed and/or required building inspections will be performed by a licensed and/or certified personnel. It goes on to say that all parties must have requisite insurance in case that the city finds that there's issues with the code or building standards that they adhere to. I've seen many of these documents in the city of Tampa's system. And you can see when you review architectural plans, stamps by these third-party providers saying that they are approved. The language of this is concerning, and what I would assume is limited public knowledge that this statute exists and is in continual use in our city. Until recently, as a citizen, I would assume that all plans, approvals, and processes are the same, regardless of origin, citizen, or builder. And then the city of Tampa would have our best interests in mind. And in the event of any variance as a result of these plans, proper signage and notification will be posted to those impacted. So I'm here to ask City Council to please take time to review this policy, its use, and potential impacts in the City of Tampa for a few reasons. One, I would question, why would a builder go this route and not follow the same process put in place by the City of Tampa? Why not go in the front door like everyone else? Why use the side door or the back door to get to your outcome? Personally speaking, I've gone through the process twice, was required to post signs, send letters, and even had a site visit to ensure that my renovation of one house and construction of our new house adhere to all the requirements of the City of Tampa. I would also question how well a third party approving documents and construction from afar, potentially out of state, would stand for the right development in my neighborhood, such as overlay districts, and how soundly can they speak to our city's code. Their role in the process appears only to be a mechanism to force a plan in isolation through without considering the context as the whole. In the plans that I've reviewed, I've seen the stamps of approval and engineering stamps from people who reside from out of state. This is concerning. Number one is that I've seen code violated because of these approval processes. And two, I don't think consumers know that their building's being inspected by the builder and signed off on by the builder. So therefore, we are negatively impacting people making large financial decisions. And they have to deal with the outcome of this process. In closing, I'd like to say thank you for your time, and I encourage you to please go investigate these processes.
Thank you very much, sir. Next, we have Stephanie Pointer. If you're on the line, please state your name. You have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Council. Happy birthday, Chairman.
Thank you.
Let's talk about money, because that's what's on my mind. First of all, I completely agree with the gentleman who spoke before me, and I think it's time that there be some serious investigation of those processes that he's talking about, because I'm getting more and more complaints from neighborhoods about setbacks not being followed, and then they get to the very end of the inspection process, and somebody from the city actually goes out, and the city says, oh, wait a minute, this is all wrong. That shouldn't happen. So, and oh, by the way, some of them happened 2 years later. Let's talk about number 19, $150,000 for a mural at the dump. Really? Solid waste is upside down $8 million in the whole year this year. And we're gonna spend $150,000 painting a wall. Number 20, $402,000 for trees in downtown parks. The downtown CRA has $17.5 million in their pockets, and we wanna give them more money? That's $20,000 per acre in that CRA alone. And we're gonna give them more? I'm sorry, but last time I checked, the people who aren't in CRAs get $0. So that's a problem. Number 43, $200,000 for a channel side park. Again, they have $7.8 million in their park. That's $35,000 per acre to spend. We're giving them funding out of the general fund. CRAs are to cure slum and blight. I don't see much of that downtown or channel side anymore, and we're getting to the point where this is ridiculous. Keep our general funds in our general funds if they are going to continue to put money in their own pockets. Number 21, adding $400,000 to the scope of a bid for rework. When do we stop this process? That's adding 10% to item number 21. For nonsense. I mean, if you look at the items that they're asking to add to that bid, it's crazy. And oh, by the way, that's Nelson, who has made a mockery out of that Seminole Heights project. And you're going to give them another $400,000. Just give it to them. Okay, so let's talk about the bid process. It seems to save us money every time it's actually done. But we've got 2 items on the agenda this week, number 35 and 45, where there's a 25% increase in the fees for those services, and yet it wasn't put out for rebid. Number 57, one of them was a vacant lot under construction for $750,000. And we're going to go back to developers behaving badly. If that fine for them mowing the grass on that lot probably was a drop in the bucket, maybe $150, $200, even if it was $500, it's a drop in the bucket. Why not punish these folks who are really, really bad neighbors by delaying their processes for the city? You know what? If you can't mow the grass, then you don't get to put in your application for another 2 or 3 months. I think that's what needs to be done. I support the East Tampa. I support the card is at the end. And I do not support the parking reductions in any area of the city unless there is in lieu of fees paid for those parking reductions. There is an in lieu of fund for downtown, but there's no pennies in it because we have allowed them to no longer produce ample amount of parking. So when they come before you for a PD, it's time to realistically look at, if you're not going to have enough parking, what are you paying in for transportation?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, be part of the Mayor's Neighborhood University. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Next up, we have Michael Randolph. Mr. Randolph, if you're on the line, please state your name. Go ahead. He is not. That concludes our public comment. Thank you very much. We will now go to, yes, ma'am. Item number 3. Oh, FDOT will not be presenting. I received a note here that they're not be taking part today. The next appearance will be October 5th, 2023. And I know we also have to a date that's going to be determined regarding 131 about a meeting or an appearance from FDOT. So,
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to reopen the agenda to pull item 19 from the consent agenda.
Okay. You don't have to reopen it, but
No?
let me see.
Okay.
So item number 19, okay, we'll pull that for discussion. That is Councilmember Henderson's committee. When we get to that, we will keep it separate for discussion. Yes, sir?
And the discussion will be taken up under staff reports?
Yes, we're going to move that to staff reports. That's under item number 19, along with item number 94, which was also pulled. Yes, ma'am?
I am not willing to wait until October for FDOT to come back. So I mean, if they're supposed to come quarterly, they need to be here in the next council meeting.
Okay, we'll make a motion officially at the end of the meeting,
Yeah.
and then we'll look at the calendar for the next official meeting and then reach out to them to reschedule this. So.
And perhaps in the meantime, transportation can be in touch, the administration can get in touch with FDOT to see what had happened and when they can reschedule.
Okay, so if the administration is listening regarding FDOT and their appearance that was supposed to be today, if they could reach out to them, and I think we'll bring this up during new business, that FDOT come before us at the next regular scheduled council meeting under ceremonial activities to make up for this missed appearance. So we'll.
I appreciate that. There's just a lot of stuff
Yeah,
going
no,
on.
absolutely. Yes, sir.
To my colleague, Councilmember Hurtak, you may have watched the meeting a couple years ago, but this item used to be, the DOT item used to be under CRA.
Yep.
And then we moved it because we were only talking about CRA transportation. There were issues throughout the whole city. I don't know what the original reason why it was only in CRA, but we moved it. But we've only had it in the whole city for a couple of years, I think, now. And I think it's a good update. It's worthwhile.
Absolutely. Yeah, it started with the whole TBX, TBNX discussion, and then it's expanded from there. But again, there's so much going on in the city that it's beyond just CRA. So thank you very much. All right. Do we have any requests by the public for reconsideration of legislative matters? Nope. All right. No. He's just adjusting his camera. Councilman Vieira, do you want to speak?
Oh, no, sir. I was just adjusting my camera. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Item number 4. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. Kamaria Pettis-Malco from the Legal Department. As a reminder, on April 6, 2023, I presented to City Council for first reading consideration an ordinance to provide both the zoning department and code enforcement an additional tool to enforce violations of prohibited signs, which is found in City Code 27-289.7. City Council had several questions regarding the ordinance, so it was moved to a workshop that was held on May 25th, 2023. Both Mr. Cotton from the Zoning Department and Ms. Susan Winrick from the Neighborhood Enhancement Department were present to answer any questions and to explain what the purpose of this ordinance is. So this item is here for first reading consideration. Staff is online if City Council has any additional questions.
Do you have any additional questions? Yes, ma'am. Councilwoman Hurtak.
I just wanted to say thank you again for the presentation during the workshop. The visuals were very helpful to really help me at least understand what exactly you're asking for. And now when I see those signs, especially those feather signs, I'm like, you're not supposed to have those. So anyway, I appreciate the education lesson that was in the workshop. And I look forward to seeing how code enforcement handles this.
Thank you very much. Would anybody like to read this for first reading? Councilmember Miranda?
Thank you, Chairman. File number 4, file number
2023/8, Chapter 23.5-5, and Chapter 27. Ordinance being presented for first reading consideration. An ordinance in the city of Tampa, Florida, related to the supplement enforcement procedures of Chapter 23.5, amending Section 23.5/5, schedule for violation and penalties by adding Section 27/289.7, prohibiting sign encumberment as a Class 1 violation, providing for repeal of ordinance and conflict, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Clendenin. Let's do a roll call.
Vieira,
Yes.
Miranda,
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Hurtak,
Yes.
Clendenin,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
and Maniscalco.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously. Second reading and adoption will be held on August 3rd, 2023 at 9:30 a.m.
All right, here we go to the consent agenda. Councilmember Vieira.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just, I've got unfortunately several, I think in two different buckets that I need to recuse myself of. Number 16.
Okay.
My company does business with, some business with the Hillsborough County School System. We don't do anything related to the city, but in abundance of caution, I would recuse myself, and I'd ask you all to please approve, receive and file my Form 8B that explains that.
Can we get a motion to receive and file? So moved from Councilwoman Hurtak, second from? Second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. All right.
Thank you. And also, you may step out for this one and then come back for the other.
Yeah, we'll take a,
Can I see what that looks like?
I don't have to step out, okay. Okay.
yeah. All right, Councilmember Vieira, can you move items 5 through 15?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. I move items 5 through 15.
We have a motion from Councilmember Vieira, a second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, and a separate vote on item number 16, and remember to record Councilmember Carlson as abstaining. So Councilmember
Yes, sir.
Vieira, would you like to make that motion for 16?
Yes, I would. I hereby move item 16, sir.
We have a motion from Councilmember Vieira for item 16, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, and Councilmember Carlson is abstaining on that vote. Thank you very much, sir. Item number 17 through 23, except 19. 19, we moved to staff reports.
Yes, point of order, we did not vote on removing item 19?
No, we pulled it
Pulled it.
to have a separate discussion and vote at staff reports.
Right, when you pulled it, do we agree to that since we had already approved the agenda? I'm just wanting to be sure.
Yeah. Do you want a formal motion?
I mean,
Well,
did we
if
agree
it's a
to
point,
it?
if it's a point of order and you want to have it pulled,
Yeah.
you want to do it by
No,
motion and
Alan
vote?
wanted to have it
Oh,
pulled.
so is it by motion then?
All right.
Are you
Because wanna
requesting a
talk
vote?
about it.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you requesting a?
Yeah, make an official
Well,
motion.
it wasn't official, you just said pull it, but we had already approved the agenda, so I'm
Right,
just
so,
trying to.
so I move to reopen the agenda to move item 19 to staff reports.
Fair enough. We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Carlson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And this is just to pull 19 to staff reports for a separate vote and discussion.
I understand, but I just wanted to make sure that it does have to be a motion for us to agree to it, right? I'm still learning.
No, I don't know.
Unless.
Because we did it after, we approved the
A
agenda.
fair question.
Yeah, and
A lot of-
I agree with you. I think we should.
A lot of things are done by unanimous consent without objection. If the chair wishes to do it by unanimous consent without objection and no one objects, to allow the course of
Okay,
the
well,
meeting.
what does that look like?
So tree falls in the wood, nobody hears this fall.
So the question is, so if you.
He just said pull it and there was no comment whatsoever.
And you raise the point of order, well taken.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Councilwoman Henderson, would you like to move items 17 through 23 with the
Except
exception of
19.
19? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I move,
All right.
let me just say it in a complete sentence.
Yes, ma'am.
For my own pleasure.
Yes, ma'am.
I move items 17 through 23 with the exception of item 19.
Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Councilwoman Hurtak, 24
Yes.
through 48.
Thank you. I move items 24 through 48.
Councilman Carlson, do you have to abstain on anything here or no? All right. We have a motion from Councilwoman Hurtak, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Miranda, 49 through 55.
Thank you, Chairman. Move 49 through 55.
We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Henderson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Carlson, this is your committee.
Yeah, can I just say something real fast?
Yes, sir.
54 and 55.
Yes.
My colleagues know a lot more, my new colleagues know a lot more than I did when I joined, so I won't presume that you all don't know certain things, but I just want to let you know, because I found out the hard way, these audits that are done, 45 and 55, they're not like forensic audits to make sure that we're covering every possibility. If you read them, they're really process workflow audits. So there is a process in place, and was the process followed? So if we had questions about should that have been the process, or was there any bias in the process, or is there something, this is not a way to guarantee that there's nothing going on wrong. And I'm not questioning these particular ones. I'm just telling you that as you see these, just because you see it, that an audit has been done and it says everything's great, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't have looked at a department in a different way through a different lens. Just so you all know that.
What they do, excuse me if I may interrupt.
Yes, sir.
And I apologize, Sullivan. What they do in one of these I was looking at, and it has an audit, and it has a finding of fact that meet the intent of the program that they're following through the distribution of whatever it is that they do. And then at the end, they find any deficiencies in it, they write what the deficiencies are, and then you have the department answering that and saying within these dates, that's when they'll be completely up to what you agreed in the audit, that there was finding a fact that there was some inconsistency somewhere along the system. So those are the things that I know that they do in every audit.
Yeah, we have a fiduciary responsibility of public, and although we don't control the administration, and implementation of things, if just because an audit's done doesn't mean that we shouldn't have asked more questions. And I'm not implying that anything is wrong in any area, just that we need to make sure we continue to ask more questions. And then to the next area, Mr. Chair, I need to recuse myself. Unfortunately, they made these 5 different items, 62 through 66. My firm has a client that may have an interest in this, and my firm does not do anything related to any business related to the city, and we would not be directly benefiting from anything, but.
You have 5 separate forms?
In an abundance of caution, I'm going to recuse myself and ask you all to receive and file 5 different forms.
All right, Mr. Shelby, I saw your hand up. You want to wait till after?
Let's take care of this
All right,
first.
we have a motion from Councilwoman Hurtak. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Miranda. This is to receive and file the
Form
forms.
8B.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Be taken care of by one motion for
Yes,
all
sir.
those items separately.
Yes, sir. And he did file the all separate forms, so.
Yes.
So,
The other thing I just want to comment on, Mr. Chairman, because it's relevant to council's discussion of audits and oversight. As part of item number 55, it's an annual process, and it really hasn't been discussed in depth. But it also points out here that this item includes a determination by the City Council of whether additional internal audits for FY 2024 are requested, which is required pursuant to Section 2-71. We really haven't had a discussion of that you haven't as a body. But if you want to discuss it, my suggestion would be to pull this, or if you wish to just discuss it after the fact or take a closer look at it relative to the discussion, just know that by item 55, what you are in effect doing is you are making a determination relative to what the work plan is and how it's going to be going forward with the auditor for the coming fiscal year.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Councilman Carlson.
yeah, if I could just add to that, and we already voted on those items, but the other thing is that, and I know everybody knows this, but just to remind everybody, in the charter, we have the right, City Council has the right to hire our own attorney, which we've done, but we also have the right to hire a budget officer, which I think we should do at some point soon. And a budget officer could look through these kinds of things separately. And then we also have the power for independent investigations. And it doesn't mean that we would imply that anything's bad, but if we wanted to hire our own forensic accounting person to look through a department or look through a budget, we can do that if we want to. By charter, we're allowed to do it, and that would be separate from an audit. And I think the audit department does a good job, and they very often find things that need to be improved. But just if we're doing our full fiduciary responsibility, we probably ought to look more more in depth in some things. So anyway, on this, in this committee, I'll move items number 56 through 61, and then 67 through 89.
Do we have a second? Second from Councilwoman Hurtak. All in favor? Aye. And now we need a separate motion for 62, 3, 4, 5, and 6, with Councilmember Carlson abstaining. Councilmember Moreno with a motion. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And Councilmember Carlson is abstaining on those.
Chair.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Please have, Carson, if you could read number 89, the announcement on item number 89.
Okay, read that out. Do we need to vote on it again, or just read it? A public hearing will be held regarding a proposed brownfield area designation for the rehabilitation and development of approximately 24.14 acres containing 14 parcels located in the vicinity of 1306 East 4th Avenue, Tampa, Florida, 33605. This public hearing will be held at the Mariposa meeting room of the Hotel Haya, located at 1412 East 7th Avenue, Tampa, Florida, 33605 on August 2nd, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. until not later than 6:30 p.m. And just for reference, this is file number BF 23-82565.
All right. That is just reading the announcement. That's not, doesn't need to be a motion. Councilmember Clendenin, items 90 through 95, except 94. 94 was pulled for later discussion.
I move items 90 through 93 and 95.
We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin. We have a second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Next up, we have items 96 through 102 are resolutions to set public hearings. Do we need to read them off one by one?
You could do it as a consent item.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Chairman, so move on those items 96 through 102.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, that clears the consent agenda except the items that were pulled. We will go into the 9:30 a.m. public hearings. Non-quasi judicial for the first three, so we don't need to swear in folks. Can we get a motion to open item
So
103 to
moved, Chairman.
105? Motion from Councilmember Miranda?
103 through
Second.
105.
105.
Huh? Okay, we'll swear in people after. So let's motion to open all public hearings at this time.
So moved.
Motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Carlson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, we have an ordinance being presented for second reading. This is on item 103. Is there anybody that's presenting? Yes, ma'am. 103.
Good morning, Chairman and Council, and happy birthday, Chairman.
Thank you.
LaShawn Dock, Development Coordination. Item 103 is before you for second reading. This is a privately initiated text amendment, and this is to the East Tampa overlay. So this is an amendment to Section 27-240. And I am available if you have any questions.
Do we have any questions for Ms. Dock at this time? All right, I hear none. Is there any other
Thank you,
further
Council.
presentation? That's it?
That's it.
All right, do we have anybody from the public that wishes to speak on item number 103? This is regarding the East Tampa overlay. 103. I don't have anybody registered. All right, do we have a motion to close?
So moved.
Motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Councilmember Henderson, would you mind reading 103?
I move file number E2023-A, chapter 27, ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption. An ordinance of the city of Tampa, Florida relating to East Tampa Overlay District, making revisions to City of Tampa, thank you, Code of Ordinance, chapter 27, zoning and land development, amending section 27-240, East Tampa Overlay District design standards, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict therewith, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Miranda. Please record your vote.
Should be, well,
Oh, I'm sorry, we need to have it vocal because
that's right.
Councilmember Vieira. So let's have a roll call vote.
Miranda. Yes. Carlson.
Yes.
Hurtak. Clendenin.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
Vieira.
yes.
And Maniscalco.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously with Hurtak being absent at vote.
All right. Next item is regarding the Hyde Park Historic District. Yes, ma'am?
Good morning. Again, Kamaria Pettisnako from the Legal Department. This ordinance is amending ordinance number 2023-16, which designated the expansion of the boundaries of the Hyde Park Historic District as a local historic district. This is in order to correct a scrivener's error in the legal description in Exhibit A.
Okay, anything else?
No.
Yes, ma'am. Do you have any questions?
Is Dotyville mentioned in any of this?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Fernandez is present. If you have any specific questions about what was previously approved in ordinance 2023-16, but there is a portion of Dotyville that is a part of this expansion, that was a part of the expansion.
Is there anybody that wishes to speak on this item, item number 104? 104. I see no one, and no one is registered. May I have a motion to close?
So moved.
Motion from Councilmember Miranda to close, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Councilmember Clendenin, 104.
I move file number E20228, Chapter 27, HPC 2021-04. An ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2023-16, which designated the expansion of the boundaries of the Hyde Park Historic District as a local historic district in the city of Tampa, Florida. In order to correct a scrivener's error in the legal description of Exhibit A to said ordinance and replacing same with the attached and corrected Exhibit A, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Hurtak. Roll call vote.
Carlson?
Yes.
Hurtak?
Yes.
Clendenin?
Yes.
Henderson?
Yes.
Vieira?
Yes.
Miranda? And Maniscalco?
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
All right, item number 105. We have an email from Danny Collins with the Planning Commission. I don't know if he's presenting or if we have, there he is. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Council. This is Danny Collins with your Planning Commission staff. Today I will be presenting KCPA 22-31. It's a comprehensive plan text amendment related to accessory dwelling units. This amendment was approved at first reading on June 22nd. We corrected a scrivener's error in the language at Council's request following first reading. The corrected language was resubmitted to you and it should be in your packet. This concludes my presentation. I'm going to turn it over to Susan Johnson-Velez from City Legal.
Morning, Council. Susan Johnson-Velez, Legal Department. I do have a substitute ordinance here that reflects a change, minor change in the title. It doesn't affect the second reading or the substance of the ordinance, and so I'd just like to pass it up for whoever is going to read.
It'll be to Councilmember Hurtak. So, yeah. Thank you very much. Anything else, Mr. Collins? No? Ma'am?
Nope.
All right. Do you have anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item number 105, accessory dwelling unit language? Anybody? There's nobody registered to speak. May I have a motion to close?
So moved.
Motion to close from Councilwoman Henderson. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember. Yes, sir.
If I may, this is the one that you can have a relative living in the back of it with you can't charge rent, if I recall. Am I correct?
If we can get clarity on that, can an individual charge rent to a family member in an accessory dwelling unit?
Well, this is just an amendment to the comprehensive plan that corrects some inconsistencies regarding accessory dwelling units.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right.
I think it's mostly just the terminology, right? Yeah, it's just clear, making the terminology consistent.
That's correct.
All right. We had a motion to close from who? Councilmember Harlan. I'm sorry? Councilwoman Henderson made the motion to close the public hearing, and the second was from Miranda. All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, Councilmember Hurtak, you have, I believe, a substitute there.
Yes, file number TACPA 22-31, an ordinance amending the City of Tampa Comprehensive Plan future land use element to update the accessory dwelling unit language in Land Use Policy 9.2.4, 9.5.4, 9.5.6, creating Land Use Policy 9.2.7, and updating Housing Policy 1.7.3. Planning Commission staff is also updating the language in Suburban Mixed Use 6, Residential 10, and Residential 6 to delete reference to accessory second dwelling units, providing for repeal of all ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Hurtak, second from Councilmember Miranda. Roll call vote.
Hurtak?
Yes.
Clendenin?
Yes.
Henderson?
Yes.
Vieira?
Yes.
Miranda? Carlson?
Yes.
And Maniscalco?
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
All right. We're going to go into the quasi-judicial proceedings. If you are here to speak on any item, any public hearing, from 106 to, I believe, well, let's just swear everybody in. Yeah, 119. The separate is a review hearing. If you're here to speak on anything from 106 to 119, please stand, raise your right hand, and we will swear you in.
Please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide is the truth and nothing but the truth.
All right. Because of Councilmember Vieira being virtual and the schedule that he has, and it's going to be, we'll see. It was a 4-3 vote on item number 110. In order for it to be a full council with Councilmember Vieira here, would anybody like to move that up and hear that first?
I will move that. I'll make the motion to move that.
All right, we're going to move item number 110 because it was a 4-3 vote, and without Vieira, it could go to a 3-3. It could go anywhere. So we will hear item number 110.
By unanimous
Is
consent.
unanimous consent, any opposition to it?
No opposition.
Anybody? Anybody? All right.
I just like the full process.
No, I understand. So by unanimous consent, we'll move up 110 to go first. You ready for 110?
Let's do it. Zain Hussein, Development Coordination. Agenda item number 110 is case REZ 23-22, being presented for second reading and adoption at the location 3108 West Coachman Avenue. Proposed rezoning from RS50 residential single family to PD planned development residential single family detached. Site plans have been turned into the city clerk's office. On this one, I want to first share the overhead view of the site plan that was turned in between first and second reading. Zoom in a little bit here. Of the two proposed lots. Now, no grand trees are being removed on this lot. Stormwater has reviewed this, and they reviewed prior to first reading and found it consistent, and they reviewed it between first and second reading and also found it consistent. And Stormwater has stated that all stormwater needs must be met at the time of permitting also. If you have any questions, I'm here.
You said both found it consistent?
Correct.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Hussein? All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Next up. Do we have a petitioner here for item number 110? And for the record, I saw Mr. Mechanic online, and I believe he did get sworn in, correct? Okay. Yes, sir. Please state your
Council
name.
Steve Michelini, you may recall that this was there was part of a second petition, but the council approved this, and it was found to be consistent by the city and the city planning commission and the city staff, and we've committed to meeting all of the regulations. The setbacks will be consistent with RS50, which is the zoning district that this lies in. I'd like to point out to you that, I read some of the letters that came into city council, and it seemed to me that first, that every one of those was from a different zoning district. They were from RS60 district and not from the RS50 district. These properties abut other properties that are developed in the same pattern. And also, I'd like to tell you that in this subdivision, there are 132 lots that are only 91 feet. It's 90 plus feet in depth. I can't do anything about the depth of the lots. They all meet the 50-foot requirement. And as I said, out of 132 lots in this subdivision, they all are 91 feet in depth. I'll be happy to answer any questions. I understand that there may be some discussion regarding this, but we respectfully request your approval. There are no trees on this property that are to be removed. There are no waivers being sought. There are no exceptions being sought. We've complied with all of the requirements regarding a PD, and the hardship essentially is the depth of the lot. It has nothing to do with the width. And there are other properties, there are a significant number of other properties that are developed in the same pattern. This does not set a precedent in terms of redevelopment for anyone else. It is consistent in every respect regarding the criteria that's established by the city and the planning commission. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have, and I'll remain available for rebuttal.
Any questions for the gentleman? Nope.
Thank
All right,
you.
we'll go to public comment for item number 110. If you are here to speak, please line up. And we have two registered speakers for 110. We'll take them after the live public comment. Yes, sir, go ahead. Please state your name. You'll have 3 minutes.
I want to give Mr. Shelby some handouts for you first. There's 10 copies of each.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Tom Conley. I'm the current president of the Virginia Park Neighborhood Association, and I'm here to submit competent substantial evidence that was not presented or discussed during the first hearing on June 8, 2023. Section 2711 of the Tampa Muni Code mandates that the zoning administrator shall receive and review the actual development pattern for a radius of 1,320 feet from the subject property when considering the appropriateness of reconfiguring a zoning lot or lot of record. You all have it there, and it's on the overhead. This was not accomplished in the revised staff report that was presented and testified to in the June 8th meeting. This is not optional. It is a core requirement of consideration. For City Council to vote on a petition without all the facts presented for consideration is an error that must be rectified by voting no today at this second hearing. I've excerpted the analysis performed by Zain Hussein in the original staff report and highlighted it, stating that unequivocally that the pattern to rezone to a PD is inconsistent with the existing development pattern. And there it is. I've also included the lot pattern for rezoning diagram, so you can visually see this discrepancy, that there's nothing.
It's upside down.
Oops, sorry.
There we go.
Put it above the, there you go. City Council made a decision without all the facts presented for consideration. By voting yes in favor of the petition, City Council has voted to make a non-conforming lot in contravention to Section 27-11. Council should now vote no by reason of Section 27-136 sub B. It is not congruent with promote and encourage development where appropriate in location, character, and compatibility with the surrounding impacted neighborhoods, built environment, and existing geography. This is apparent in Zane's analysis of the surrounding area, including the block and block face. This petition does not comply with sub 6. And the Tampa Comprehensive Plan, Section 9.3.8, also supports denial of this petition based on the negative impacts to the established character of the neighborhood as presented in Zane's analysis. The creation of a substandard lot size or setback will cause each new lot created from the original parcel to be a violation to this chapter, and no permits will be issued until this violation ceases. Thank you for your time, and happy birthday, Chairman.
Thank you very much. You had mentioned section, did you say 27-284 2.2?
No, I said 2711 and 27-136 sub 6.
136 sub 6.
As your basis for denial.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. You have a speaker waiver form? All right.
Ms. Bennett has 5 names: Sandy Sanchez, Adrienne Laramie, thank you, Claire Haney, Thank you. Laura Vaughn? Thank you. And Joy, it looks like Dew? Thank you. 8 minutes total.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead. Please state your name.
Hi, my name is Carol Ann Bennett. Like Tom, I have some new competent and substantial evidence to present. I spoke to the storm, before I get into this, let me just say, on the issue of precedent, Mr. Michelini said it doesn't establish a precedent. But as you'll see, a lot of the determination by staff and by you is based on the pattern of development. So when you change the pattern of development, the strictest definition of a precedent in the legal sense is true. It doesn't, because you don't cite that previous case. But it affects the pattern of development, and that is what you base these decisions on. So it does set a precedent. I spoke to the Stormwater Department about their original finding of inconsistent for this rezoning and found out they have a rating system, which was not discussed at the first reading. If you look at the report I gave you, you will see that the outfall for this property is Hillsborough Bay, and the outfall pipe is at Alene and Bayshore. The Stormwater Department's rezoning reports have a line item where they rate the adequacy of the outfall pipe. They have a rating system of A to D, with A being very good, with a pipe that is usually 6 feet in diameter. This property got a D, the lowest rating, the very worst rating they can give it. It means the outfall pipe is usually only 1 foot in diameter. In addition, this pipe drains into the bay and is underwater twice a day at high tide. That means the stormwater sits inside the pipe until the tide goes out. Because it is so small, it doesn't have capacity for all the stormwater, so stormwater floods the roads and yards and sometimes people's homes. I was also told that because these small pipes are under salt water twice a day, barnacles and such grow inside them, narrowing the pipe. Detritus snags on the barnacles, further narrowing the pipe, and the Stormwater Department must periodically scrape the barnacles off the insides to unblock them. The Stormwater Department told me that the problems with the outflow pipes has gotten worse as more of South Tampa's permeable surfaces are paved over due to increased density and small houses being replaced with McMansions that have larger footprints. This creates less permeable surface, and it has therefore increased the stormwater runoff into the pipes. In fact, this rezoning was originally found inconsistent by the Stormwater Department because it exceeds the maximum impervious surface allowed. The reason they changed it to consistent is, if you look at the site plan, you will see that they are going to compensate for that excess impervious surface by digging a retention pond in the front yard of each house. Are 2 houses appropriate for this lot that used to only have 1 house? If you must dig 2 retention ponds, then the answer is an obvious no. No, it is not appropriate to double the number of houses on this lot. Are you going to tell South Tampa residents that you've solved their horrendous flooding problems by allowing retention ponds in yards? If so, then the next South Tampa candidate forum 3 years from now is going to be very interesting, and I would expect the attendance to be even higher than the last one. Another new piece of competent and substantial evidence is that these retention ponds will be on private property. That means neither the city nor the county can maintain them. There are cases of malaria in Florida. The city tells us to turn the saucers under our flower pots upside down so mosquitoes can't breed in them, yet you expect homeowners to tolerate their own private mosquito farm in their front yard? Have you seen what retention ponds look like when they're dry? Do you think people want a sludgy, muddy, debris and weed-filled retention pond for their front yard? Do you think the neighbors want to see that mess every day? The reality is those owners are likely to fill them in and plant grass and undo the stormwater retention. The builder will be off the hook. It's not his problem. And because this is private property, the city can't do anything unless someone files a complaint with code enforcement. How likely is that to happen? Even if someone is knowledgeable enough to do it, do you think they want a mosquito breeding eyesore in their neighborhood? If you truly think this lot split is okay, then on your next campaign flyer, you need to own it and state that you approved front yard retention ponds as a solution to South Tampa flooding. I'm sure your opponents will. At first reading, someone said you must approve this because there aren't any waivers. That is inaccurate. If there weren't any waivers, they could just pull permits. If there weren't any waivers, they wouldn't need to spend time and money on a rezoning. We are here today because they need 3 waivers. 1, every single family zoning in the city requires a 20-foot rear setback. They need a waiver for a 15-foot rear setback. That's why they are asking for a PD. 2, every single family zoning in the city requires a 5,000 square foot lot or larger. They need a waiver for a substandard lot size. That's why they are asking for PD. And you just heard that 2711 says that you cannot create a substandard lot size. It prohibits it. Number 3, every single family zoning in the city requires minimum 50% permeable surface. That's why they're building 2 retention ponds. They're asking for a PD because they need waivers. That is not the purpose of PDs. This is a growth chart that was created and presented to you on September 30th, 2021. What is the incentive for you to improve this? South Tampa and New Tampa have the highest rates of growth in the city, but they are supposed to have the lowest rate. If you see here, New Tampa's growth rate was the highest. That's because a long time ago they had very large subdivisions that were approved, but their rate is decreasing. That's why the red is smaller than the blue, because their rate of growth is decreasing. If you look at South Tampa, you see the red is smaller than the blue. In South Tampa, the red is bigger than the blue. That's because South Tampa's rate is increasing. That is the opposite of what should be happening. South Tampa has the most expensive dirt in the city. So why are the investment dollars going there? The answer is profit, obviously. Even with super expensive land, builders can get the biggest profits there. The University Planning District is supposed to have the highest rate of growth, yet in the last 10 years, they have only grown 1%. When Stephanie Pointer and I go to neighborhood meetings up there, we always hear, this lot has been vacant for 8 years. That building has been vacant for 10 years, and so on and so on. What about Sulphur Springs, the old Dodd Crack, East Tampa? If you keep letting builders pour their resources into South Tampa, that money isn't available to invest in other neighborhoods. Turn off the South Tampa fire hose of money. Look at the South Tampa Planning District. It's all red and orange with a little yellow. Why would you want to cram more homes on substandard lots that are in the CHHA, in the highest risk evacuation zone A and flood zone AE, and in the 100-year floodplain? Look at the University Planning District, right here. They're not in evacuation zones or flood zones or the CHHA or the floodplain, and they are supposed to have the most growth. But it's not going to happen if you keep letting builders get extra entitlements for every inappropriate piece of land they buy in South Tampa. If you approve this substandard lot and smaller setbacks and retention ponds, you better start adding dates to your calendar, because every time you bend the rules for one person, you encourage lots of others to line up with their hands out, looking to reap big profits in South Tampa, where growth is stupid, instead of investing in the places where growth is smart. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
My name is Suzanne Cooper, and I live in the Bayshore Beautiful neighborhood. I believe that PD rezoning for this and any single-family lot is inappropriate. It circumvents the adopted code, which was the result of lengthy discussions and compromise between City Council and your constituents to accommodate redevelopment in Tampa, particularly South Tampa, as Ms. Bennett said, very eloquently, I would add. If you have ever denied this type of single-family lot change to PD, you should do this for Res 23-22. And I would just add that Mr. Michelini showed the site plan that he wants approved today with a 15-foot setback, reduction in setbacks. And he told me personally that he had changed it to 20, as the City Council had requested at the first hearing. So I'm not sure where that went, but he's obviously not going for a 20-foot setback. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Bill Merlin. I live on Fair Oaks Avenue in Bayshore Beautiful. I don't know if there is a piece of property in Bayshore Beautiful that is suitable for a reduction to being non-conforming. But clearly, this proposal, this piece of property, this is not it. Now, you've already heard the 4 points, so I'll summarize them quickly for you. Strike one, the divided lots are both less than 5,000 square feet, which is below R50 standards. Strike 2, and I don't have to lecture to you about more density of population and what that means on municipal service demands, be it roadways and transportation, the obvious water supply, taking care of sewage lines, et cetera, et cetera. You know this better than I do because you see it every day. Strike 2, the large buildings on the small lots leave less permeable surface for the water to come and percolate through. So what's going to happen to that water? Runoff. Strike 3, the retention ponds during the wet season, after hurricanes, et cetera, will become havens for mosquitoes and other insects. Strike 4, we're in a special flood hazard zone designated by the city of AE, Alpha and Echo. We have enough of a situation with the lower swale where from the north, south, east, and west, the land gets lower to the intersection of MacDill and Coachman. You can drive south from south on MacDill, it goes down to Coachman. You go north on MacDill, it goes down to Coachman. You go on Coachman from Bayshore Beautiful down to, from the Bayshore to MacDill going down. From the west going down. We already have a flood problem there, and by having substandard lots that can't handle the extra water from the new buildings, it's going to make the whole situation worse than it is already. So in summation, the combination of undersized lots and oversized buildings is creating a flood hazard. I don't believe it's justifiable to approve this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. I'm Pamela Jackson-Haney. I live in Bayshore Beautiful and less than a quarter mile from the subject property. I keep asking myself why. The rezoning to PD is unnecessary. It is not a thoughtful rezoning. To zone this lot PD in an RS50, RS60 neighborhood of homes, some old but many new by the way, would be like a square peg in a round hole, like a fish in a tree. It is out of character, substandard, and setting a precedent that the homeowners of Bayshore Beautiful do not want. Speaking of which, I do not feel the letters that the surrounding neighbors wrote opposing the rezoning were given enough weight at the initial hearing. I counted 80 letters total, combining the hearing in June and now the second reading today. That is a considerable number of people on the immediate surrounding streets asking you, sometimes begging you, not to do this. Most listed the abnormal setback of 15 feet, the retention ponds, the overcrowded schools, the insane amount of traffic on MacDill from all the buildings south of Gandy, the non-conforming lot size, and the property being designated a special flood hazard area, and, of course, precedent. This developer removed trees on this lot without a permit on this property, and he is being rewarded with a PD zoning in a sea of RS50 lots. Did I tell you about the story when my kid took out my new car, wrecked it, and then, you guessed it, I rewarded him with a more expensive, bigger, better, and faster car? That's what you would do with your kids, right? No, because that's not how life works. We all know that makes no sense, but that's what's happening here. I have seen a lot of that happening around South Tampa over the years. A tree limb missing here and there, a tree missing here and there. Suddenly the house is up for sale with no overhanging limbs or canopy in the way and a clear lot for the new builds. That is not okay. That is another reason this developer cannot be rewarded for their offenses. What message does that send? As for the setbacks, another big concern is the lack of green space and lack of permeable space due to two houses squeezed onto undersized lots. The Stormwater Department initially found this plan inconsistent, so the developer decides to install retention ponds in the front yards. I am all for innovation when and where necessary, but again, this is not necessary on the RS50 lot where one home should be built. I know this developer's goal is to make money, and I respect that. There is no fighting development in Tampa, and that is not what we're trying to do here. The facts are this area has been and continues to be very lucrative for developers as is. There will be no hardship for this developer without this rezoning. They will not be deprived of anything, certainly not money. But the neighborhood, we will be forced to put up with retention ponds, high-density housing on undersized lots, and a precedent for this to happen again. Unnecessary, not thoughtful. There are plenty of places in Tampa where PD zoning is 100% appropriate. This is not one of them. Please revote and keep the current zoning of RS50 in place for one single-family home as originally intended in this neighborhood, where residents have asked not only once, but twice now, that it remain the same. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker? Yes, ma'am.
It's upside down.
Sorry.
Turn it around. Turn it
Upside down. All right, sorry, let me just get my stuff together here. All right, Debbie Zommerman, 192 Corsica Street, and I've been sworn. What I'm hearing over and over again are issues where this PD rezoning is in conflict with both the code and the comp plan. Several speakers prior to me have discussed this, and it's something I've been discussing in front of City Council for probably over 15 years. PDs are being used to circumvent the code. Now, if I go into, and I'll start saying numbers for you, and I'll hand this over to Martin Shelby, but section 27-226, the purpose of the PD says it's for, I'll paraphrase a little bit, zoning districts that recognize unique conditions, none here, allow design flexibility. Well, yeah, there's some. It's a bigger house on a lot than should be provided because of the setbacks we already know are deficient. Promote plan diversification and integration of uses and structures. There's no integration of uses there, and there's just one structure, so I don't know how that applies. But the kicker is, it says, which other zoning districts cannot accommodate. This is an RS50 zoning district. You can accommodate one house on this lot. And the code says the house has to have, the lot has to be 50 feet of frontage and 5,000 square feet. So you can do it, it's just that you can't do two of them. You can do one, but you can't do two. If I go into 27-227 PD, the purpose of a PD is that the district is to provide an alternative zoning procedure that may be used to establish plan development districts at appropriate locations in accordance with the planning and development objectives of the City of Tampa residential, commercial, industrial, and mixed-use developments. In addition, all requests for zoning to PD zoning districts must be found consistent with the overall purpose intent of the site-controlled zoning request as referenced in section 27-136. The purpose of this rezoning is nothing more than to get two houses on a lot that's too small for those lots and to get setbacks that would otherwise not be allowed. 2739, the general requirements, and this is again in the City of Tampa Code, the development standards. Section A is common open space. Section B is physical characteristics of the sites. I don't know that this is consistent with those types of requirements. Oh, I'm going to put in, let me say, LU policy 1.2.21, LU policy 1.2.28, and the comp plan. There's nothing unique about this site. It will set a precedent on the, here I've got where all the PDs are starting. If you do this, as was said by Ms. Bennett, this is going to basically spur on more developers asking for the same consideration. And if they don't get that consideration, you've given this benefits to this specific site that aren't available for anyone else. So I respectfully request that this be denied as it's in conflict with the Tampa Comprehensive Plan, the code, and will provide special privileges to this owner that's not available for others. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board.
Good morning, sir.
I'm Chris Hart. I'm a resident of this neighborhood. I live on Fair Oaks Avenue. Good to see so many people I recognize, both on there and on the staff, too. I got involved in government from issues specifically like this, and spent quite a few years after that before meetings, particularly on land use and zoning. I have never been so impressed with the presentations of the people today with the details. So I won't go into each of the details, but I think you know from your experience. I won't tell you all the different things about the RS50 and how people see it from a neighborhood that's got a character to it. It's an older neighborhood. It's got some of the most fantastic trees until somebody cut down some of the 165-foot tall trees that were there for over 100 years. And it goes on, even with the police watching who do nothing. But anyway, what I'm here to talk about is what happens when you take this special area that's got a special flood hazard area, and you talk about adding these retention ponds. Now, where do we really use retention ponds in our larger community? Commercial sites and public sites. This is a neighborhood. I'll tell you, when earlier I heard somebody mention Alline about the flooding, how it backs up all the way there. I'm glad Steve Otto didn't hear that, former columnist for the Tribune who lives in that street, and how many times that has flooded over the 35 plus years I've lived there. But going on further, when we go beyond a minimum that's already been set by the City Council, what kind of community are we really creating there? What kind of neighbors are you going to get out of someone who actually is a festering place for mosquitoes? This year, for the first time in a long time, I've actually hired a service and gotten my neighbors on all sides to hire services because the mosquitoes are so strong. And that just goes on. But what you get when you approve plan development like this is you take away from the very character of this neighborhood. Yes, we were getting houses. In fact, when we first moved there, we would tell people we had the tall two-story white house. Now I'm the small two-story gray house on the same street. But if you look at the land use and how the setbacks have worked in there, they've maintained the setbacks. They've created the distances that they needed to allow that permeation with the water, the soil, the trees, beyond those that have been done illegally. So I encourage you to continue this and not approve this zoning. Thank you.
Very much, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. You look very familiar. Were you in the county commission before? I have been. I was appointed by this board to the City County Planning Commission, and then served 2 terms at large countywide on Hillsborough County, with responsibilities for the city of Tampa, Temple Terrace, and Plant City, and most often enjoyed watching you play in dominoes in Ybor City. Take care, man. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good to see you.
All right, we have, if there's nobody else in person, we have 2 registered speakers. Nobody else? Before we go to rebuttal, Stephanie Pointer, if you're online, were you sworn in? No, please turn on your camera, raise your right hand, and we'll swear you in. Stephanie Pointer. Do we have Zane Britt online? No? Okay. Stephanie Pointer, if you can hear me, please turn on your camera. We'll swear you in.
I'm working on it. It was working 15 minutes ago. Well, oh, did it go? Did it go? I saw myself. Well, I'm sucking. It won't turn on. So y'all have a good day. Vote no.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Applicant, your rebuttal?
Before I get into the rebuttal, I've just been advised by the city staff that we had requested that the site plan be changed so that there were no setback waivers and that the rear yard setback should be shown at 20 feet. The plan that they have only shows 15 feet. So the site plan before you has not been certified, and we'll have to continue the hearing until the site plans can be certified by staff and then come back to you at another date.
Mr. Shelby?
And I'm sorry for that. I didn't realize that the plans didn't reflect that. they were supposed to make that change. And that's why I said at the beginning that, you know, we were meeting all of the RS-50 site plan requirements. And again, I'm sorry that that didn't happen.
Yes, sir.
May I inquire, Mr. Michelini, when you say the changes, is it the applicant's responsibility to submit the site plan with the 20-foot setback?
Yes, sir.
And was that done?
Apparently not. I mean, I had requested that the surveyor, I mean, our site plan engineer do that. And I apologize for that. He had a death in the family, and I'm sure that that complicated that issue regarding the submission and that correction. So I apologize to council. It should be showing at 20 foot on the rear yard setback and the 7 and 7 on the sides.
So then it's my understanding
The site
that
plan is not certified. It can't be considered by the council at this time until we get it back to the staff and have them certify the site plan and then bring it back.
Question 4, I guess, the concern that I have is in that we have the public here today and we have all the evidence that's been placed into the record. It would be my recommendation that council can still continue to deliberate. However, it cannot be adopted today on second reading if the council chooses to make a motion to adopt. And then it would have to be continued for the purpose of having a conforming site plan. But my position, council, would be that depending on, based on the evidence that you've heard, based on your deliberations, frankly, that can be remedied after council makes a decision one way or the other. The situation would be remedied. That if council moves forward with it, the site plan can be brought back once it's conforming. If council chooses not to move forward to it, then the issue is moot.
When did you find out about this?
3 minutes ago.
Why didn't they tell us this ahead of time before we went into this whole hearing?
Is there a site plan?
There is a site plan, but not
Isn't there should be a.
But there is a
list.
site plan that's
There's
submitted,
a-
it's just
yes.
not what you want it to be
There's
today.
a site plan. We agreed at the podium to change the rear yard setback to 20 feet. It shows on the plan that they have 15 feet, which we are not requesting the 15 feet. We're requesting that it meet regular RS
I think we need to hear
50
from the
development
city.
setbacks and standards.
Mr. Hussein.
Zane Hussein, Development Coordination. Let me first go ahead and share the overhead view of the site plans, we can all see. Now, the revision sheet from staff did not mention the 20-foot setback, but at the first hearing, it was mentioned by the applicant and by city council that it would be agreed to for 20 feet in the rear. So if going to be adopted, this plan cannot be certified today.
And may I inquire, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Yes, through the chair, Martin Shelby, City Council Attorney. Whose responsibility is it to provide the site plan for certification based on the revision sheet and representations that are made during the hearing?
The applicant is given a determination to provide 4 sets of copies to staff, which is provided to city council.
And was there something filed that was consistent with a revision sheet, but failed to do that? Is that what the situation is?
The applicant failed to provide that 20-foot rear setback on the site plan.
Councilwoman Hurtak.
So I guess my question then is, whose job is it to make sure that that site plan was in and ready to go?
Good morning, council. This is Nicole Travis, Administrator of Development and Economic Opportunity. You usually don't see me before you on hearing matters. There is a responsibility by the applicant to submit the site plan. However, it was missed by staff that something was agreed upon in the hearing and was not reflected in the revision sheet and therefore not reflected on the site plan. So it is a staffing error.
Well, it's both of our errors.
Well, without a question, it's both of your errors. I'm here just representing on the staff side that there is accountability on our side as well, because the legal department did make a note of it and it wasn't reflected on our revision sheet, so that's
Okay.
on me.
Were you here for just that today?
No.
I didn't think so. Okay. I personally, obviously, I voted no the first time and I vote no the second time, so I have no problem with continuing on because I'm going to vote no anyway. I am absolutely, I'm upset that once it was found that we didn't just stop right then and interrupt folks and say, hey, by the way, this is what's happened, because now these folks have spent their time and then we spent 25 more minutes talking.
No, in fairness, it was like you were in the last,
You only had one speaker
you only had one,
left.
you were in your last.
Okay, I was
We
watching
were,
y'all.
no, we were trying to figure it out.
Okay.
At that point, it was discovered, and you saw us going in and out. We were trying to figure out if what we were seeing was true, so.
We did have the discussion about whether or not to interrupt public comment. And since there was only one person left, we didn't want to stop that process and interrupt it at that point. It wouldn't have been fair to that person either. So it was, you
But I
know,
apologize, because from a staffing perspective, it should have been caught before we even started the public hearing. That's why I'm before you, addressing you right now.
Councilman Carl.
I want to say something. The public brought this up, and maybe Ms. Wells can answer this, but the public brought this up. Had the public not brought this issue up, the discussion wouldn't have happened, and we would have voted on the sheet that's there, and nobody would have caught it until afterwards, and then it would have been approved or not approved.
Councilman, I brought the issue up when I said that we'd met the requirements for setbacks. And then I wanted to confirm with staff that the site plan reflected that after neighbors had said, they were saying 15 feet, and I was trying to figure out why are they saying that?
Yeah, so my point is that had they not brought it up in public comment, then you wouldn't have asked the question, and we wouldn't have found this, and the other one would have been voted on. But from a city legal department point of view, whose responsibility is this? And in the case of it, I mean, we almost voted on one that was in error. So that's a big problem right there. But second, what's the normal process if an applicant makes an error or fails to submit something? Do we allow a continuance, or do we cancel it and make them apply again?
Kate Wells, Legal Department. With respect to the first question, it is, as Nicole Travis represented, it is city staff's responsibility to certify the site plans between first and second reading. Once they receive the revised site plan consistent with the revision sheet and any additional conditions created by council and agreed to by the applicant, then that's the purpose of the representation to council, that the site plan has been certified and it's ready for second reading. There was an oversight here, I agree. The reason, as soon as this was brought to our attention and we were trying to confirm what happened here, the reason we did not step up to interrupt public comment, council has, I don't want to say it's a foregone conclusion that this is going to be approved because it was approved at first reading. So in the event that council were to deny the application, it ends the discussion, this doesn't move forward. If council is inclined to approve the application, you could make that motion today and then defer second reading on the ordinance to another regular meeting to a date certain, at which time the corrected and certified site plan would be presented to you. So I did not want to waste the public's time in coming out today and just saying, we have to stop this right now and continue it. You have options, and that allows you to still take into consideration the testimony that you heard today from the public.
Before 10 minutes ago, was the site plan certified? And what if we had voted on that and nobody caught it?
I'll defer to Mr. Zane on that. I can't answer that question.
No, but what would have happened from a legal point of view if we had approved hypothetically we'd approved the site plan as it is right now? Would that have gone through, or would that have been changed somehow?
There's always an opportunity to correct a Scrivener's error, and you see that occasionally on your agenda. There's one today on your agenda, second reading on an ordinance correcting a prior rezoning ordinance, correcting a Scrivener's error.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Also, Councilman, as an applicant, we wouldn't have taken advantage of that. And we made a commitment to the council, and the staff recorded it, that it should have been at 20 feet. So that was not some sleight of hand issue on our side. It was a mistake. I apologize to council for that mistake. And it's up to you. Do you want me to continue with a rebuttal, or what would you like me to do?
If I can be heard first.
Yes, sir, Mr. Shelby.
Yes, thank you. Counsel, you have heard, with the exception of the rebuttal which is forthcoming, the entire case. It is a formality, a technicality, a legal technicality, a necessity to have a conforming site plan. But for you to take action today or to indicate what your decision is, does not have to hold that up. You do not have to continue it in order to deliberate. You can do that and make a determination today, and depending on what your determination is and what, how council wishes to proceed, we can deal with the legalities and the formalities of addressing this instance. But I would say that under the circumstances, counsel, from where I sit, it was the best decision to continue this hearing, to not interrupt it and to not continue it, and to actually see it through today and give direction as to where it goes forward from here.
What? To continue it, not to continue?
To continue the, excuse me, yeah, point well taken. What I'm saying is to move forward, to be able to see this through, to be able to address that or not, depending on what council's pleasure is.
Okay, Councilwoman Hurtak.
I just have a quick question for staff. Which department was responsible for this? What is the exact name of that department?
Zane was saying development coordination, the development coordination and zoning staff review this.
But which one was responsible for, I just need the specific name.
If I can, my suggestion is, council, rather than take that and add more to the record than we need to at this point.
This has nothing to do with that. This is just an aside question for
Well,
something else.
Then I would, okay, well, in that case, I'd ask that you stay on record, and we're still in the public hearing.
Okay,
And you
well,
allow it to
I will
continue.
simply ask Ms. Travis later.
Thank you.
Are we going to the rebuttal? All right.
Is that, the council wishes
No.
for me to continue with the rebuttal?
Go ahead, sir.
You heard a lot of issues about stormwater and flooding. We have to meet the code. And when they're showing on a site plan, they're showing an area for stormwater. That's not a design area. It has to go through permitting and design. Nothing in here was ever designed to be a wet pond for mosquitoes and malaria and the rest of the issues that were brought up. Because the lots are only 91 feet deep, the PD process is designed to provide relief. There is no other mechanism for providing relief. The city staff will tell you that they look at and review projects based on frontage and development patterns. All of the homes that back up to this property, according to the records that I saw, were all 50 feet wide. And this whole area is spotted with 50-foot wide lots. It's not entirely that way, but things that are north of here are RS-60, those are bigger lots. Not in this area. They're smaller and they're smaller by plat. I think I showed you the plat map. This is these are 3 blocks. 3 blocks, and you can see that the depth is shown here at 90.74 feet. Every one of those lots is 50 feet wide. That's 132 lots in this area. The owner didn't create this. They're asking for relief, and as I said before, our intention is to meet all of the setback requirements for RS-50. There aren't any issues that can't be resolved at permitting regarding the placement and the stormwater retention and all of those issues that have to be addressed, including green space and lot coverage. You can't exceed the lot coverage. I mean, you have to show, when you come in for a PD, you have to show a basic footprint, and that was shown on the plan. The plat itself that was recorded in 1911 created those lot sizes and dimensions. As I said, we weren't planning to take advantage. I made a commitment on behalf of the applicant to maintain a 20-foot rear setback, and we still are committing to maintain that, and the side yard setbacks and the remainder of the development criteria under RS 50. I'd like to be able to tell you there's some other way of getting before you to resolve the issue. There isn't another way except through the PD process. These problems and these issues are unique with respect to the way that the properties were originally designed. This is not a flood hazard. It's not going to be a flood hazard. The stormwater code requires you to treat and maintain stormwater treatment facilities on site so that you don't go off site, and they're required to be maintained in good working order. I think that we have met the criteria. The city staff has found us to be consistent. The Planning Commission has found us to be consistent with all of the land use designations from the land use code. I'd be happy to, I think I asked you before to receive and file those provisions and consistencies that were found in the land use code. But let me run through them. Goals and objectives and policies of the Tampa Comprehensive Plan, City Planning Strategy, Land Use Objective 2.1, Land Use Policy 2.1.2, Land Development Regulations and Objectives 8.14, Overall Residential Development and Redevelopment Land Use Objective 9.2, Land Use Policy 9.2.1, Objective Land Use Objective 9.3, Land Use Policy 9.3.8, Single Family Areas Land Use Objective 9.5, Land Use Policy 9.5.1, Land Use Policy 9.5.3, Neighborhood Community Plans of Neighborhood Objective 1.3, Neighborhood Objective Policy 1.310, Adequate Sites and Accommodative Housing, Housing Objective 1.3, 1.34. I just ask that you receive the entire, I can't finish reading all the report, but ask that you receive that report and make it part of this application. We've met the criteria. The Planning Commission and the city staff have found it to be consistent, and we'd like an opportunity to correct our site plan to reflect the 20-foot rear setback that I originally had committed to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I had a couple of questions. I heard, I believe during public comment, trees were taken down without a permit.
I don't know anything about that. The site was vacant when this applicant purchased the lot.
And did he purchase it vacant, or did he purchase it with a home and demolished it?
I don't know that answer.
Okay. Another question I have is, if it stays as it is in a McMansion, I was thinking about why McMansion, why they have that term. But if someone builds a house taking up that single property without splitting it, do they have to, by code, are they required to put stormwater pond or any kind of system as shown if the lots were split?
Yes, and the impact would be greater with one house than it is with two.
So with a single home, the code says that the builder would be required to have a stormwater
some treatment facility of some kind. There's no structure in the city of Tampa that can be built anymore that doesn't treat stormwater on site.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
I have a follow-up question to that for staff. I mean, according to code, that's not true. If you have 50% permeable surface, which you're required to have when you build, that's not an issue. Am I correct with that with staff?
Can you please restate the question?
Yes. Mr. Michelini said that they would have to put in stormwater ponds and things if it was one single family. That's what I interpreted. But here, according to code, you just have to have 50% permeable surface, and that would be the requirement, correct?
Correct.
And that is what this PD is doing. If I am correct, this PD is using other methods to handle the stormwater instead of having that 50% permeability.
I can't speak on that one point. That'll be stormwater department. But they did find it consistent upon the review of the proposed
Yes,
site plan.
okay, thank you.
We don't really know until that is fully designed.
But you do know that it's more than 50% of the permeable surface.
I don't know that. We have to show a footprint that is consistent with the setbacks. So when we get to the design stage, or the development gets to the design stage, then they adjust the size within the footprint. And if it doesn't meet the 50%, then you have to take other measures to address stormwater. But my point was, I didn't say ponds. I said you have to treat stormwater for every parcel.
Yeah.
And you have a number of different options of how you do that.
Yes.
Whether you do it with an under drain system or whether you do it with swales, there are a variety of different ways of addressing the issue. But those are handled at permitting, not typically at zoning.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Shelby, nothing? Do we have that concludes that. Thank you very much, sir. Motion to close from Councilwoman Hurtak, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. What is the pleasure of council? Councilwoman Hurtak and then Clendenin.
Yes, and I sense that Councilman Clendenin would like to make a motion, so I will simply just say what I want to say, or would you like to make your motion first and then I say?
I think we should discuss this first.
Okay, well then, for me, I really appreciate that the public is talking about, and the applicant was talking about setbacks and permeable surface, and as he just pointed out, that has nothing to do with what we're doing today. Really, the crux of this for me is section 27-11 that says creation of new lots and yard dimensions below minimum requirements. And it states, no yard or zoning lot existing at the time of passage of this chapter shall be reduced in width, depth, or area by private action below minimum requirements for lot or structure as set forth in this chapter. It just says you're not supposed to do it. And for me, it's incredibly simple. That these aren't 5,000 square foot lots. They just aren't. And that using a PD to circumvent that is absolutely not providing relief, the only reason for relief. There's no relief necessary for this. You can certainly still build a much larger house here. And using old plats to show that is really disingenuous, in my opinion, because when you look at those, if you look at the old plat that they showed, and then how the area actually developed. So this plat is from the 1911, is I believe what I heard, and this is the way it's actually developed. You can't go back to the old plat and say, hey, I've been wronged, because the neighborhood did not develop the way it was originally thought. And I'm sorry, but that, to me, I don't appreciate when I'm told that this is the only relief available. The relief available is to simply build a house that's appropriate. None of the other stuff matters, the setback, the permeable surface. It's just not, it's not doing what, it's just illegal. You're coming to us for a PD when really you need one house.
Councilman Clendenin and then Councilman Miranda.
Yeah, honestly, Mr. McElhaney, I look at this and you know how I voted last time, and we've had so much substantial and competent evidence, additional information submitted during this hearing, that I think it backs up, the decision to not approve this type. Because I look at this, and I think some of this is going to have to be a bigger discussion, maybe a workshop issue about PDs in the city and the impact that has on residential areas. We've approved some of these PDs and some interesting development that fits with. I've got a copy of the criteria for PDs, and if you look at the criteria for PDs, which I believe Marty Shelby handed to all of my colleagues, there's some areas of the city that I think that this is very useful for as we reinvent the city of Tampa and some of these development areas. But in these established neighborhoods, and especially within the coastal high hazard area, and in these areas that have been developed and are really some of the jewels of the city of Tampa, I don't see where, I look at every single one of these. There are 9 elements in 27-136 of plan development code criteria, and I don't see any one of those 9 where this particular request meets that criteria for PDs. I understand I understand as a developer they want as much as they could possibly get, but it's not just the developers that we have to take into consideration. We have to take into consideration how we develop the city, the impact that it has on neighborhoods, the impact that it has on the coastal high hazard area. We've heard competent, substantial evidence on flooding potentials, issues with rainwater, and some of this being the lowest area in the city, and how the water comes off of this property. I agree with Councilwoman Hurtak on Euclidean zoning. there's no reason in the world that we cannot use Euclidean zoning to develop this lot. And there's not a single, I think that we have evidence here that was submitted today, that out of the 11 properties on this development, on this street, not a single lot is less than 50 feet, not one. So to be consistent with the development pattern of this street, that every single property is 50. And again, the developers can beautifully put an amazing house and probably turn a nice profit. And I'm all for profits. I believe in capitalism, and I want people to get the best use of their property while conforming with the greater good of the city. Again, we're not putting transit down McDill Avenue. We're not going to have a light rail system, so it's not encouraging that. It's in the coastal high hazard area. I mean, I could read through every one of these PD criteria, but I don't see a single item on here that this particular lot meets. And I know you and I have had these discussions in the past about how we develop the city of Tampa and where we need to encourage development. This is not one of those areas. Thank you.
Councilman Miranda.
Thank you, Chairman. Going back to chapter 2711, why do we take these that are less than 50 feet in width and have them heard? If all this is factual, and I believe both sides what they said, I'm not pointing fingers at no one. Mr. Conley brought that up in 2711, which says no new lot shall be created after the effective date of an ordinance from which a chapter was derived, except in conformity with the requirements of applicable regulation. No yard or zoning lot existing at the time of passage of this chapter shall be reduced within the width, depth, or area by private action below the minimum requirement of lots or structures set forth in the chapter, except for the following situations. If all that is fact, then why do we accept them as a hearing?
Mr. Shelby.
If I can, before you answer, Mr. Hussein. I believe it would be appropriate to open up the public hearing, if that's your question to staff, because that is something that's been raised, and I think the opportunity to request an expert in the code to be able to address that, to resolve the issue, that's been discussed.
Do you want to reopen the public hearing?
If the council wants to hear it, fine, yes.
Is it rhetorical? Or is it a rhetorical question?
Well,
why do we accept them at all?
well, then, I think that begs the question.
Well, I can answer that. I mean, that's why they come to this body. That's what you're looking for the answer of. But what I'm saying is, there's, from what I said and what Mr. Clendenin said, they come to us if they want to go through this PD criteria. And as Mr. Clendenin so eloquently stated, they don't match any of the criteria. They just don't meet it.
Well, I agree with you, but what I'm saying is that if that's the fact, then we shouldn't accept the application, period.
And there's a reason that, but council, and I don't want to inject myself in this, but there's a reason this application was accepted with that code provision, with the PD criteria, and if you wish to know the answer to that, that answer can be provided by your staff, your experts. So if you want to resolve that issue, as opposed to make your decision based on something that you have not resolved, I would recommend that you get the answer that you're looking for, one way or the other.
Motion to reopen the hearing.
No, I'm fine. You're okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
Then I rescind that.
Councilman Carlson.
Yeah, I think that topic would be appropriate to be discussed in the workshop that
What
Councilmember
Mr. Clendenin said, I agree with that. So we, one day in the future, we'll have that in the near future.
I voted against this last time because the competent substantial evidence that was presented, double or triple of that has been presented today. So that's only reaffirmed my vote no.
And I've heard a lot more evidence today, and I have some concerns. So what's the pleasure, Councilman?
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to deny file number REZ 2322, an ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 3108 West Coachman Avenue in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in section 1 from zoning district classification RS50, residential single family, and to PD, planned development, residential single family detached, providing an effective date. I make that motion based on substantial evidence that was provided, and competent evidence that was provided today during this public hearing. Specifically, several things that were brought up. One, the comprehensive plan 9.3.8 the intent of the city that the new residential development project shall be minimally disruptive to adjacent areas. To achieve this, the city shall assess the potential positive and negative impacts of residential development projects on the physical development pattern and the character of the surrounding area, and require mitigation of negative off-site impacts. I believe that this request for the PD does not meet the intent of that paragraph. Also, in addition to that, Section 27-136 Plan Development Code Criteria, items 1 through 9, I don't believe this meets the intent or the descriptions of any of the needs to grant a PD, and that an applicant can develop this property within the utility and zoning that currently exists. Also, the fact that this is in the coastal high hazard area, and there has been evidence today submitted that this could create issues affected by the coastal high hazard area.
Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Carlson. Yes, Mr. Shelby?
Just want to confirm, this was a motion to deny.
Yes.
Did you read the title? Because I heard the words provide an effective date.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, I did read the title.
Okay, so this is in effect a motion to deny, and you cited sections of the code specifically?
Yes.
Did you cite them, like 27-136?
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Good, thank you, because I just...
I did, so I cited 27-136, I cited the comprehensive plan 9.3.8, and then I'll go ahead and add that to 27-11 on the, as Councilwoman Hurtak had highlighted, the fact about the minimum lot requirements, 27-11.
Perfect. We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Carlson. Roll call.
Henderson? No. Vieira? Vieira?
No.
Miranda?
Yes.
Carlson?
Yes.
Hurtak?
Yes.
Clendenin?
Yes.
And Maniscalco.
Yes.
Motion carried with Henderson and Vieira voting no.
All right, we're in recess until 1:45.
Thank you.
There we go.